Jamaica, we're going up and not under. No more slaves any longer. We were once weak, but now we are stronger, stronger, stronger. Join me, Darren Chosen Smith, Mondays to Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. inside Lifted, right here on Best 100 FM, 100.1 to 100.9 FM. Tune in and be informed, motivated, entertained, and spiritually lifted. Your weekdays will never be the same again. Mondays to Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. inside Lifted on Best 100 FM, 100.1 to 100.9 FM. With yours truly, Darren Chosen Smith. Tune in and be lifted.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back. Welcome back. So it was a very good time over the weekend for me and everybody related to me. And this week is a big week in our lives as a family.
Oh, what's...
My second born celebrates his birthday this week.
Do tell.
Yes. So this week, my son, the gift to us, will celebrate his birthday. So we are excited.
So you have 3 kids,
Yes.
3 children.
Yes.
One is the gift.
Yes.
What's the first one?
God as judge.
One is judgment.
God as judge and says, you're good. You're good to
one
go.
is the gift.
And this, yes.
And the third one?
Third one is God's grace.
God has remembered me.
God's grace present in our lives.
Or I remember how.
No, man. God's grace present how.
Do you like the third one? I remember how.
No. You put that one in there. I never said that. I never said, Mr. Producer.
I think that is...
Mr. Producer. A good morning to you, Mr. Producer. How are you this morning, Mr. Producer?
God has judged.
Yes. Yeah.
The gift. And
God's grace. God's grace, yes.
Or I remember how, as I prefer to call him.
No, but I take you on this morning.
Be sure everybody can figure that one out.
No, but
that was your late life child, as one would. Yeah. Although you were not late life, I mean, this is after the bio class.
After the bio class, I like it. Yes, people remember that. But indeed, as we speak, as we press.
How old will it be, though? Is it appropriate to say? How old is the gift?
It's a 2000 child.
Okay.
Yeah, a 2000 child.
Fully unwrapped now?
Yes.
You have a sense of the excellence of the gift?
Yes, ma'am.
So God judged you well then.
That. But as we come into our ways unto the Lord this week, as we remember this week is Parliament open,
Yeah, I want to speak about what Mr. Ronald Thwaites
Parliament open
has offered in this morning's paper. I would say, hands down, this is the most useful opinion that Pastor Ronald Thwaites, the Reverend Ronald Thwaites, has offered in my estimation. So I want to talk about it because I think even as we...
funny?
No, it gave me a good laugh, one of the comments he made, but it is one of the issues. He touches on an issue that will be central in our reflection on constitutional reform. The budget exercise, everything starts and ends with what you're going to do with the money, what you can do, what you can't do, and the spirit in which the planning is conducted. and he just calls it thoughts on the budget. But everyone who has ever run a household or run a business or taken on any tough decision or initiative knows that the resources that you have to execute your plan, critical. It's critical. And this week, Ronald Thwaites, Reverend Ronald G. Thwaites, has offered some insight on the process, which I think I'm certainly going to keep it. So when we are on the road discussing constitutional reform.
I mean,
Yes,
budget.
constitutional reform, because remember that a big issue is how the Constitution positions financial matters, the order in which you address things as a nation, the level of involvement of the people in how we plan our financial affairs. I certainly will make that a focus of the consultations that we anchor and conduct. Ronnie Thwaites has painted a picture that puts you in the room. But I know you want to commit your ways to God. So, of course, the financial ways are a big part of what we need
No,
to
but
commit.
seriously,
So,
yes, the committing of this whole budgetary process in terms of the thoughts, because the budgetary process, because it really begins from September. Guys in government will say to you that we see the budget being presented in February, because it used to be in April, but they moved it forward years ago, I think under Peter Phillips, in terms of making it so much better in terms of you don't wait until way down when the budget when the financial year starts. But it begins in August, September, when the permanent secretaries and the different people have had their retreats, and then they come up with what their priorities should be in terms of what they see on the ground in the ministry.
Yeah, the budget call goes out fairly early. If you've served in any government organization, you know that there is a call for you to make your submissions. What happens to those submissions, of course, is an entirely different matter.
Yeah, because the government...
Yeah, but the technocrats, they know their stuff. They get the process out.
Yeah. And some of the times we put a lot of pressure on them because they are on the ground, they see it and they said, this is what it is. But then when it goes up, I think,
we're ready.
Yeah, it just throws it out. So the thoughts of those individuals are important, but whether it is taken into consideration is another matter.
You want to hear some of what Mr. Thwaites said?
Yes, man. Let's hear what he said. Yeah.
All right. He said this is budget week. The big yellow book and the smaller one detailing how the public bodies are going to spend your money are sacred documents. Sacred? Why so? Because every line of expenditure reflects a principle of governance, evidence of how faithful we are to the covenant between rulers and subjects, an implicit statement of national priorities, and a declaration of how we rate humans, fellow citizens who we are forcing to pay for what a few determine to be for the common good. Lives are destroyed or made to flourish depending on how government spends the tax dollar. And that's holy business, whether you are a theist or humanist. For 20 years, the budget exercise was an anxious and frustrating time for me as a parliamentarian. What will we say on Judgment Day when called to account as to how responsibly we approved the spending of $1 trillion of poor people's money? I trembled. The estimates of expenditure are presented in the most obtuse style possible. The proceedings of the Standing Finance Committee, the only opportunity to scrutinize how billions are to be spent, are squashed into 3 days at most. Questions are discouraged, and nothing of substance is ever changed. Civil servants watch and wait with obvious boredom and contempt as the people's representatives take pride in disrespecting one another. The backbenchers who would want to propose changes dare not open their mouths lest Wami shut them a box. The process is so real. Everybody knows that the weight of upheld expenditures, unexamined as to efficiency, expensive more than ever now, nyam out most of the money. We argue at the margins. The capital allocation suffers from chronic anorexia and won't get fully spent anyway, spoiled by the constipation of procurement rules. It ought to be done very differently. Priorities for spending ought to have been discussed for weeks preceding determination. A zero budgeting exercise in each ministry, department, and agency ought to be a routine exercise every 5 years. A thorough examination of the estimates, if done properly, should take 3 weeks, not 3 days. The entire effort is anything but consultative. The estimates are in large part the creation of the bureaucrats in the finance ministry, rubber stamped by cabinet and thrust onto parliament and the people. The presumptions undergirding the Westminster model of governance, a workable level of political comity, an ample, even if not adequate, economic base, effective civic education, do not describe our reality. We are following inherited forms and ignoring the substance of our needs. The American lifestyle, which we are taught to crave, the castle rather than the cottage, the Chrisas instead of clean, efficient public transportation, beautiful, naturally, spiritually adorned dress and behavior in preference to contrived, garish, and self-referential bling, are ultimately unsustainable. A huge underclass will always be left out. Do we want thoughtlessly continue to mimic other people's styles when that implies leaving so many behind? And he writes more, but that's what I wanted to share. That picture he paints of what goes on in the house when they are planning our budget. You in your home will take what resources you have and sleep on it, pray on it, worry over it, pick at different things, try to see how the priorities can be met. And you only have a couple dollars to allocate. Yet the business of the country, which involves trillions of dollars, really say a trillion, but let's say billions of dollars, they in the house, even the people you represent, don't really get a chance to dig into it.
But we know that.
As he said, they argue at the margins. Ministry of Finance don't set the course. Listen to me. You see all that money with them teeth up with SSL? Ministry of Finance better figure it out. Since they have all the answers and they have all the wisdom, we have to hold people accountable. And Reverend Thwaites is right. There is a day of accounting for your stewardship.
And the system.
He has every right to tremble. Because if you sit there silently and just give up and let it flow, if you sit there feeling like you're powerless and you can have an impact, if you're too afraid of Wami, who is on the lookout to
Shut your box.
shut your box. If those things are concerning you, let us remember, a kingdom was lost because a man was too afraid to tell his soldiers to quiet down. You remember King Saul? And the bleating of the animals.
But
he couldn't control his own team.
No, but he as a leader had made a major blunder. Man, give him instructions and never follow it up.
Yes, so you start off with the instruction from the people to represent them with honesty, probity, compassion, diligence, fearlessly, going up against the wormies of this world or whomever else.
A worm is a wicked.
And you sit in the house, seeing things going carelessly, knowing that this is not the right way. And enough of them just sit there and let it flow. And then we get to see the horrible display of petulance and ineptitude when the media give us a little snapshot of what's going on there. And we all know they're making not a lick of a difference. And then you see the Minister of Finance come out 3-4 times like a cuckoo coming out of a clock with what did they call
Revise
it?
is the estimate of expenditure.
Yes, supplementary
Supplementary
budgets.
budgets.
Supplementary budgets.
But we as Mr. Twaits, Reverend Twaits, invites us. Thank you very much. We do appreciate it.
That picture that he has painted.
No, you have painted a wonderful picture. So all of us will begin to better understand what are the stark realities of our budgeting process and why, as some people have been calling for a very long time, the covenant that we, the leaders, have with the people and we have with ourselves, it's broken. It is not
look at
working.
that. He references that.
Yes, he says in the beginning.
About,
He talks about the covenant early out in terms of setting that as the backdrop for what we're doing. So it's even greater arguments.
Yeah, it's just interesting to me that he used the word covenant because it's the word we always use here and you don't hear it used a lot. Yes, he says, how faithful we are to the covenant between the rulers and subjects.
An implicit statement of national priorities
and a declaration of how we rate humans, because every which way you plan to spend that money is a pronouncement on the importance you give to the human experience and the role of the citizens in what we're doing. So yeah, I found this, I'm keeping it because I want to quote it once or twice in the future as we talk about how the job is being done and how it ought to be done. He talks about a process that should take 3 weeks being crammed into 3 days. Yet you would see they allocate time for people to get up and make contribution to the debate. All kind of people get up and speak uselessly about things that they don't even believe in. Speeches prepared for them by persons who are putting more weight on the sound of the words than the reality of our lives here in Jamaica. So you hear all kinds of lofty sounding speeches. I'm just so weary of it.
And I just want, at this point in time, we lost. Some people have described him as a statesman. I interacted with him. I remember him very much. Delano Franklin was at Michael at the time when we had the struggle. We called it in 1986. He's passed away. He had been ailing for some time. So we just want to send condolences to his family. The other person who I knew personally and interacted with him too was Robert Thompson, Bishop Robert Thompson, who used to be in the Anglican Church, but he's written a book that I find, it's called Redemption Song, Reading the Scripture for Social Change. And he was that thoughtful as a person. He's passed on, but was a person that I knew personally. And also, I didn't know that he had passed also. James Douglas Sr., who, churchman too, who overcomers. That's the church has right at the bridge where you have Red Hills Road and the Boulevard, the church right in that corner there. So he's passed for some time now. So condolences to the families of those persons. When you interacted with those individuals, you knew that Jamaica was at their very heart, and in their own way, they tried to push for the cause of the common Jamaican person, whatever way possible. So I just want to note their passing and wish their families comfort in this time.
Yes, because we don't mourn and despair like those who have no faith. So I don't know. Delano I knew well enough. And yes, he was a nationalist to the core. Great man to be at the helm of any move for change. And he was also quite the intellectual with his writing and his.
He was a contributor too.
He wasn't just a noisemaker. which is always refreshing. So
I like everybody. Don't make noise, but no real change.
now there was substance to him.
Yeah.
And I really hope, we are of an age, you and me both, where we can sort of look behind us and say, where are those who are coming in the likeness of, in the footsteps of contemporaries of ours who fought for change, and had substance to their approach and their expressions. I say it because we do see a lot of people expressing their opinions and having high public visible platforms for doing so. But a lot of the expressions of opinions and so on are really not even worthy of airtime.
Yeah.
They lack depth, they lack substance, they lack heart. And I know that we must take responsibility for the shallowness of our young people who should be showing themselves ready to take charge of things.
Yeah, that's true.
It has to be our fault, because there is a handing over and a transfer of knowledge that should be taking place from one generation to the next. And whether you caught it from the generation that went before you or not, you still have the duty to leave something of value to those who you train, you mentor, and so on and so forth. So I do remember Delano as a student leader. I mean, he was senior, way senior, but he was leading the charge in so many ways. Always the politician, always wanting to be in a position to influence change. But, it is a sobering reality that regardless of how big your heart and your brain are, you are finite.
That's so true.
And, you have to, in recognition of that, maintain that consciousness to transfer, to teach, to leave something. Because if you are passionate in your belief that the ideals that you fight for are sound and have a future and can give your country a good future, then you have to be equally passionate in your move to share it and to transfer it and to make sure that there is someone who will carry that baton past the point where you are able to. I was so proud listening to my niece this weekend. On Sundays, I cook on Sundays, so we were in the kitchen. And for some reason, I said, I hope one day you will look back at these moments cooking with your auntie, and find pleasure in them. Of course, she says she already does. She says, and she herself, what I was looking for was to just impress on her that what we do here is what you will one day do with someone else. And anywhere you go, the excellence of our efforts, feeding family, the conversation we have, because I'm not an idle chatter person. I have fun and, we can make crazy jokes, but I keep my discussion in the vein that is uplifting and appropriate to whomever I'm with. So we were talking about,
many things,
all the happenings, and of course, digging into what was happening with her on campus and so on. And it was such a delight to hear her taking on some issues. She's a member of a journalist club, and she spent some time saying, well, if this club is meant to exercise the skills and the talents of journalists, what are we doing? How are we doing it? It's not just a talk shop. Whatever your situation is, whatever environment you're covering, have issues that are worthy of discussion, and they're trying to get her into investigative journalism.
Go, my friend.
When she's on the social media platform and some issue came up, she said some man in the diaspora says he's a patriot, and he described his patriotic activities, and it involves supporting the Pan Chicken Man when he's here on vacation. So she went on his social media page and she says, I see nothing on your page that demonstrates that you're a patriot. You can only buy so much jerk chicken. What are you doing about the larger issues? I don't even see you wearing Made by Jamaica clothes that you could say you're a brand ambassador. Man, she took it when she described to me, I said, all right now.
All right now. You gonna light some fire?
Yes, that's what we're supposed to do, Percy.
Light some fire.
That's what we're supposed to do. You know, what I remember fresh on campus when they were doing the march. And first thing is, there is a part of political activism that is just fun. You said FET. There is, because with the march is music, it's the food, it's the, the camaraderie of holding hands and tilting at a windmill. Really, that's what it feels like sometimes.
It wasn't, I did nothing. It wasn't to me, because it's
a process.
It was a process.
It's a process.
That got us.
There are some parts of it that I felt were ill-advised.
Which ones?
Exposing young students to the brutality of the police. I think you got, but you were not a young student. You were experienced road marcher. And you got tear gassed. Did that happen?
Yeah, man. I was one of the leaders.
There are some aspects of it that I said, okay, we know that when you're mobilizing people, there are several different strategies for drawing attention to your cause.
And whole that strategy, it's 7 o'clock break. We can talk about
That's true, because we're not mobilizing. Let's anybody can't tell we mobilize.
We got to do that.
7 o'clock.
Best FM 100.5 on your dial. Keep listening.
The Ministry of Justice will be strengthening its partnership with the Ministry of Education to expand the promotion of alternative dispute resolution methods among the nation's youth this year. I'm Jeremy Lee Nelson, and the details are coming up. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says a total of 500 schools are being targeted for the incorporation of restorative justice RJ practices this year. Speaking at an RJ session with the Kingston Technical High School at Hope Gardens recently, Justice Minister Delroy Chuck underscored that restorative justice can play an important part in the lives of children in schools.
Last year we did 232 schools, introducing the schools to restorative justice practices. This calendar year, we want to do 500. And then the next one, we do the remaining schools, and then we start repeating. Because we think we have a good product that we're taking it to the school, to the churches, and to the communities. Restorative justice is about accepting responsibility and about forgiveness.
A fatal altercation took place at the Kingston Technical High School in Kingston last year, prompting the restorative justice session with the students. The session was part of activities to mark Restorative Justice Week, which ran from February 5 to 11. Defined as a process whereby all the parties with a stake in a particular matter come together to resolve collectively how to move forward in the aftermath of the offense, RJ uses forgiveness in restoring peace and de-escalating conflicts. Minister Chuck told the students that in their disagreements, they must still learn to tolerate each other and respect their differences, while noting as well that resolving conflicts peacefully leads to restoring relationships.
We all get things wrong. We all say things that are wrong. We disagree, and nothing is wrong with disagreement. From disagreement, we grow. So nothing is wrong with disagreement, but it's how we deal with disagreement. There's no reason to be fighting, quarreling. You can disagree and tolerate other person's point of view. You can disagree with how a person dress, but tolerate and say that is the way they dress. You can disagree with how a person speaks, but tolerate that that person speaks differently.
Education and Youth Minister Fable Williams, who was also in attendance, noted that her ministry seeks to provide targeted support to vulnerable individuals who make up the school environment.
Many connected parties in the school environment need psychosocial support in the wake of traumatic begin and to be socialized into an improved emotional state of mind.
Minister Williams also condemned acts of violence taking place within the nation's schools, many of which are often circulated in videos across social media platforms.
I don't know of anyone in Jamaica who is looking at those videos is really feeling good about it. Because you are the up and coming generation. So we have to devise all kinds of programs for you to help you in your daily interaction with your peers to understand that disagreements are going to happen as you interact. The only thing you can control is your reaction.
Principal of Kingston Technical High School, Malton Campbell, said the staff sees the introduction of restorative justice practices as a welcome tool for change.
It's going to help us in the healing process. And this exercise this morning, of course, will bear space for our students. It will help them to process those emotions. It will also help them to improve their behavior. Eventually, they're going to be representatives who are able to talk and who are able to equipped with this process to deal with conflicts that may arise in their lives.
At the close of the session, the students participated in a balloon release exercise, writing whatever troubles they're facing on balloons, which were then let go and allowed to float away into the sky as the students cheered. And that's it for this feature. I am Jeremy Nelson. For more information on restorative justice and all other services and programs of the Ministry of Justice, call their toll-free information center at 888-JUSTICE. That's 888-587-8423 or visit moj.gov.jm.
A production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-3825-8 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. God is good. This is already Pastor and friend Reverend Simon Peter Jones, inviting you, my friends, to listen every Tuesday evening on Best 100 FM at 7:30 p.m. for the program The Voice of Hope, as we extend hope to the hopeless in this dying world. God is good. Be encouraged. Hope is in the Lord.
Business owners, what do you want our listeners to know about your business? Check out the Business Spotlight every Thursday at 11:15 a.m. inside Lifted with Darren Chosen Smith, catering to all your advertising needs. Call our sales and marketing department now at 876-276-5072 or 876-887-0800 or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road off Hagley Park Road. That's the Business Spotlight right here on Best 100 FM.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash. Located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash. The best in the business for a cleaner wash.
Believe me, so easy. 1, 2, 3.
Half a tree, 100, half a tree. Bossy, how you do a take taxi start?
Chano, I want to tell you, say, at 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and me check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? You waste all that time on shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them.
Them have over 35 years of experience and then diagnose your problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040. Or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me send you.
You big star. Yeah, man. Respect my boss.
Try calling him, guys. Trust me.
Good afternoon.
What a relief.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-Time Taxi Service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
From anywhere you can call us at 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
Having trouble getting parts for your Mazda? Maljam Auto Parts is your solution. Find Maljam at the new and convenient location off Upper Park Road at 9 Kingswood Avenue. Maljam Auto Parts, with over 25 years experience, providing all Mazda parts, new and used. Call 923-4389 and 461-1786. Maljam Auto Parts, serving your Mazda needs.
Best 100 FM presents the Mature and Moving Up Show, Lascelles Butch Chen, on Thursdays from 6 to 9 p.m. Welcome to this pioneering radio program on our continuing work in our maturing years. Compellingly defined, educate, and liberate the younger generation. Tune in.
Jamaica, we're going up and not under. No more slaves any longer. We were once weak, but now we are stronger, stronger, stronger. Join me, Darren Chosen Smith, Mondays to Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. inside Lifted, right here on Best 100 FM, 100.1 to 100.9 FM. Tune in and be informed, motivated, entertained, and spiritually lifted. Your weekdays will never be the same again. Mondays to Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. inside Lifted on Best 100 FM, 100.1 to 100.9 FM. With yours truly, Darren Chosen Smith. Tune in and be lifted.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on the Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Good morning and welcome back. Before we took the break, I was giving a sort of a perspective on the happenings many years ago during the time of the late Delano Franklin when he was student leader.
Michael then, was Michael.
And
Percival
Pastor Percival was big student leader too from the ecumenical side.
Yeah, man. It was interesting time.
What was the name of that you were leading? UCCF. What is that? University Christian?
Union Colleges Christian Fellowship. Yeah, man.
Christian Fellowship, right. This is ancient history, so you have to understand a little bit of the history to it. The government had decided that the 1% of the population who could afford tertiary education should not do so at the expense of the 99% who couldn't. There should be what was being called a cess, but which in effect was a tax, a financial
And education.
obligation.
And the
with
backdrop was
persons
that Michael May did introduce free education to university,
Right.
the boarding grant and all of those things. So it was in operation. And one of the things with the IMF was you need to sort out your house.
Well, I don't know that. So the IMF, you're saying the IMF required them to
That's one of the
impose
things.
a tax on education?
Yeah, because them say if you gonna
No, or they require them to raise additional revenues, and they chose to put it on
right,
education
to take it
because,
out.
as in so many ways, if one party gives something that looked like a blessing, the other party tried to take it back and say it's carelessness and foolishness.
Yes, so that was
And those were the days when the difference between the philosophy of the PNP and the JLP were as far as the East is from the West. The PNP prided itself on putting people first and creating social programs for the upliftment of the poor people and black people in particular. And the JLP felt that capital was to be employed and
you make money and then
you make money and then they trickle down to those who, because you would continue to be the labor force that gave capital its increase or its return on investment. So there were very different perspectives, and education played a different role in the philosophy of each. On the PNP side, they felt that free education or access to education, because there's no such thing as free education.
Access to education.
They felt that access to education was a game changer.
It was.
The more people you could employ, you could educate, you could have a better educated workforce that could produce more, be more innovative, and so on. On the JLP side, it was merit. Go and practice your trade or turn your money into more money and more money. And when you have the more money, your family and those that you employ would be uplifted. So it was a very common thing to see well-to-do students come out of high school, go into the parents' business and start to trade.
Yeah, but
Whereas on my side of the railroad, people were trying to do A levels and go to university and get a profession and so on and so forth, and be part of the brain trust that could take the nation forward. I don't know if it is time for us to do a balancing and see what really happened there, because I think certainly by virtue of those policies, a lot more women got educated.
Significantly. And you talk
And
about
right now the women are shouldering the managerial workload in this country.
I'd say not even just a lot more
and doing
women.
it cheaper too, because we cost 31% less.
You never
than-
got you just showing all of the things.
Fill up the basket. We apparently cost 39% less than the men.
No. You know me not agree with that.
I know, I'm not.
But I'm just saying that what it did, and we often speak about places like Singapore and so on. The empirical evidence is there that if you have a well-educated population,
you do better in everything.
You do better in everything, and the prosperity of your nation. What I must do, Virgin? Church mystery. Yeah. So that was it, and it continues, because one of the challenges, and it is a discussion and debate continues. How are we going to fund tertiary education? And we know what it does for the society vis-a-vis all of the other demands that are being made on the budget and so on. So, yeah, but to come...
So that's the history of it. The history of it is that the JLP administration, now government, wanted to introduce a tax, a surcharge
Call it a cess.
on tertiary education. And it was coming at a time when students had already committed to their degree program, and just that additional money could change the picture drastically for that generation of students.
Change it.
So now we're on campus deciding. I think I was a first year student at the time, just arrived on campus, and this falls to be decided, and the students wanted to add their voice to the discourse. Adding our voice also meant some amount of protesting. And,
some amount.
Yes, man, that was the.
That was
the
spontaneous.
so I was saying to Percival just now that I think some of the strategies were ill-advised. And the reason I said it is because it exposed unprepared students to harm and danger. And in the end, I think it was the dialogue which was already underway.
It was not. It was
there
not.
was dialogue
It
underway.
was not. It was not,
All right.
Minette. It was not.
It was the dialogue which, in the end, produced a result.
Because
and you might.
It is the protest that brought the government, the then Minister of Education was Dr. Mavis Gilmore, that caused for us to have dialogue with the students, meet with her. I remember down at Hero Circle that brought it. And I must say that at some point in time, the university said to us as students, hello, the exam's still going on, the class is still going on. And I remember as a student leader, because we were a part of it, I said to them, guys, we have marched enough. Go back to classes because we've gotten dialogue with the government. Some people are intent on marching. I said, just stop it. And I remember being in a meeting with the other leaders, and they were saying when we marched down to your circle that day, because there's a march plan, and they said, you not get it. How do we respond? And them say, well, if you remember I tell you buckling and thing, and I said, no, no more. Because I was tear gassed before. I remember that. And I remember having to lift a young lady because we're in the streets up at blocking it, as students, and saying, we shall not remove. We took it out of the civil thing. And we're tear gassed and whatever.
And
happened.
you were moved. Anyway, that's where I was going to. As you can see, Pastor was way up in the planning of that whole
and we said
mission.
to them, no. We said to them, no. That is no more.
So my point is, when you are mobilizing and there is an element of physical engagement, people need to be prepared
and made aware of it.
Yeah, people need to be aware of the risk, and even the very leaders themselves need to put themselves on the front line.
Yeah.
So that students who are just what I call cannon fodder.
Yeah.
That's how I felt out of that occasion. I said, never will I just fall in line with anybody's scheme where I am the cannon fodder.
And we recognize that even as a leader, we said,
So
we're not.
That's kind of like the point of that.
Yeah.
When you're participating in any kind of protest, you must know and have your strategy well mapped out, because it's not so that you can get caught and be abused and so on. It is so you can have impact. All right. A couple of things happened on the weekend, or really from Thursday.
Yeah, we missed it. Yeah, it was
our weekend.
Yes.
That requires some going into. At the top of the list is this ruling by the Privy Council, which affects both. It's the attorneys who were protesting, but in truth, the attorneys were protesting
on behalf
of citizens, clients who it's your business that becomes open to scrutiny when these regulations that underpin the anti-money laundering regime takes effect. So I went through the decision of the Privy Council because I want to speak about it here from different perspectives. One, what it means for you as client going in to see an attorney at law. And obviously from the perspective of attorneys who work in the area, and not just attorneys, because there's a body of persons known as designated non-financial business professionals.
Who are those people? Like the investment
lawyers? No, those are financial. So it's non-financial business professionals, meaning you don't work in the finance industry, but you provide supporting services that bring you in contact with large cash transactions or even modest cash transactions, but you deal with cash in the provision of services as a professional. And you acquire knowledge. The regime is based on imposing duties and obligations on persons who are in a position to acquire information that is relevant to the investigation and prosecution of financial crimes.
You understand?
That's the foundation of it. So the non-financial business professionals now are accountants. So your auditor, your forensic auditor, your internal accountant, your internal auditors, anyone who works as a professional accountant.
Is it a way of seeming how to getting people to explain on? You have a word for it.
Unexplained wealth. Unexplained wealth.
That's what it's about.
Yeah, well,
the foundation of it.
That's a part of the regime.
Okay.
But now what you're doing is every investigation feeds off the availability of credible information.
Okay.
So now they're going to the source of the information, which normally the police or any investigator would have to suss out through different channels. What they're doing is broadening the net of persons who have a duty to provide information.
So how do they get it? Do they have to go to the court? The police to go to the court to do it?
So this is the regime now. So you have your accountants, you have your real estate people who, because they are brokering deals that involve lots of money, they will acquire information because they have to make an assessment as to whether or not this or that person gonna buy or sell or whatever the case might be.
Wow. That's serious story.
They include gaming machine operators. Now, if you have, laundering money requires substituting dirty money for clean money.
Right.
So if you have 10 machines that generate $1 million, a man can easily come to you and say, let me put another $1 million through your machines.
Oh, jeez.
And so because the bank is accustomed to you bringing in cash from your operation, the growth in your business is not unnatural. Do you understand?
Yeah, me understand.
Yes. So you can see so you can see how such a person can have information when somebody come to their business and say, either offer them a deal or come there with cash, plenty cash, and they're not coming to swipe their credit card and get chips. They're coming there with cash to put on the counter and say, give me chips, or however you might do it. So gaming machine operators, casino operators, along with the lawyers and the real estate dealers, are amongst the body of...
Everybody get catch now.
Yes, non-financial business professionals.
Just say that. So you have the lawyers, the real estate, gaming people, who else? Drug dealers?
Those are not considered professionals. They're not considered business professionals. Those are just considered as criminals. Very funny, Pastor. So, for the lawyers, now everybody knows that what you say to your lawyer is as if you're speaking to yourself. It only gets repeated with your consent.
Like you have a contract.
That is the foundation of the confidentiality duty that is imposed on lawyers. When you speak to your lawyer, now, you really could stay there and just, like you speak to yourself, you're speaking out loud. And by lawyer now, it involves the whole legal office that supports the lawyer's work. So the paralegals, the secretaries, those who come in contact with the information. And here's where the protest gets a little stupid. I'm using the word stupid. I really do mean it. With whistleblowing, meaning protected disclosure legislation, with just a general understanding of civics, that you have a duty if you know something that is criminal, illegal, whatever, there is no protection against iniquity. The Privy Councillors actually used the word iniquity.
They use iniquity?
They said iniquity.
Oh my glorious Father. And God,
that was interesting. Real Old Testament language. There's no protection to cover you from disclosing, to prevent you from disclosing iniquity.
Oh, Jesus.
So anybody in your office, in the lawyer's office, who has knowledge that, Mr. So-and-so came and the lawyer was paid in cash, because let me tell you, is a strange lawyer who going to have them want to do everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
Mr. So-and-so come and he has left $2 million cash, the lawyer gonna have to trust somebody to get that to the bank. Or to write it up,
So the bearer,
to do a receipt, or because that's just the way things go. Even the lady who was robbing SSL had her private books at home.
Oh, wow.
So there's a record, and persons have access to this information. Nevertheless, this regime had imposed on attorneys the duty to report suspicious transactions and to make their records available for review, regulatory review, by the General Legal Counsel. They sought an injunction, the Bar Association.
It was the Bar
GLC. No, the Jamaica Bar Association represents lawyers.
Yeah.
The General Legal Counsel is really the government's regulatory being that is created on the statute. So the General Legal Counsel was named as the body that would go and look at the documents that the lawyers have. So lawyers had two duties. One, to make a report of suspicious transactions, which you would make to the FID as the authority, government authority to receive those reports. And two, to make their documents available for inspection by the regulator. So the regime was set up to insulate the confidential information from the eyes of the government.
Okay.
And to just have the specialized office of the GLC be the one to do the inspection.
But the GLC is lawyers, right?
The GLC is lawyers, who some of them are your competitors.
That's
Not some of them, all of them are your competitors.
That's what I was saying, you know.
So there are some things in it that the lawyers' protest, to me, don't really target the real issues.
Yeah. And on that note, we take our 7:30
break.
Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. God is good. This is already Pastor and friend Reverend Simon Peter Jones, inviting you, my friends, to listen every Tuesday evening on Best 100 FM at 7:30 p.m. for the program The Voice of Hope, as we extend hope to the hopeless in this dying world. God is good. Be encouraged. Hope is in the Lord.
Business owners, what do you want our listeners to know about your business? Check out the Business Spotlight every Thursday at 11:15 a.m. inside Lifted with Darren Chosen Smith, catering to all your advertising needs. Call our sales and marketing department now at 876-276-5072 or 876-887-0800 or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road off Hadley Park Road. That's the Business Spotlight right here on Best 100 FM.
Having trouble getting parts for your Mazda? Maljam Auto Parts is your solution. Find Maljam at the new and convenient location of Upper Park Road at 9 Kingswood Avenue. Maljam Auto Parts, with over 25 years experience, providing all Mazda parts, new and used. Call 923-4389 and 461-1786. Maljam Auto Parts, serving your Mazda needs.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
Half a tree, 100. Boss it. How we do I take taxi start?
Chano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and me check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and then diagnose your problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040. or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me send you.
You big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Try calling him, cause trust me.
What a relief.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-Time Taxi Service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
From anywhere you can call us at 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on the Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back.
Yeah, so what? There were two matters that were on the question that the attorneys took to the Supreme Court, then to the appeal court, then to the
Privy Council.
And every time
they lost before the full court.
They lost before
the appeal court. And they lost before the Privy Council.
3 strikes, they're out.
Yes, the Privy Council made some interesting points that are not new points. I guess to show themselves diligent or relevant, they cut the baby between the Court of Appeal decision. They did a Solomonic move. They found a middle ground between the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court, the full court, which heard it. So lawyers were complaining that it is a breach of their constitutional right to have privacy of their office and documents. So it's two different things that could happen. First, it would breach your duty of confidentiality to the client to be made to report on your client. I heard Matthew Samuda using an unfortunate term yesterday, calling on citizens to become informers. Now, nobody wants to become an informer because it suggests that you are breaching some kind of confidence, a duty to hold confident certain information. You're breaching it to become an informer. Can't you just be a good citizen who speaks truth? Can't you be a good citizen who carries out your civic duty to cooperate with the police when wrongdoing has been done?
But
so
as you made that,
lawyers were looking at it as a breach of confidentiality, and being an informer on your own client is how it appeared. And then second, now when the police has reason to believe that you know something, they take warrants and come into your office to search and seize. So there was also a complaint that this provision that required them to open up books to the scrutiny of the regulator was a breach of their freedom to be, I don't know how best to put it. No, it was a violation of their right to privacy and freedom from search and seizure.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you can't do that if you're doing something wrong, if you're not doing anything wrong.
Well, that's why the Privy Council said that there is no protection from iniquity. So if in fact your documents and your office should be searched because wrongdoing has been done, or there's a degree of suspicion that wrongdoing has been done, such that your documents become, a part of it, and your office becomes a part of the investigation.
So no rest for the wicked, the judges them say.
Nothing. Yeah. If that's what you're into, then there is a way for you to be made to cooperate.
Okay.
There was a lot of talk. If you read the case, you'll see a lot of talk about legal professional privilege. Now, remember I said that speaking to your lawyer is like speaking to yourself, except that self has specialized knowledge and can advise you properly. So your lawyer is really an extension of yourself with the legal skills and training necessary to take you through a rough spot. So someone can go to a lawyer and say, I just killed a man. The body is over so and so. I need advice. That confession, that truth speaking, because it's not a confession, that truth speaking to your lawyer is sacred, never to be repeated, not to be seen. It's as if you spoke to yourself and you have zipped your lips, covered by what is called legal professional privilege. A lot of talk was about whether or not the anti-money laundering regime would violate that. That is sacred territory. And the Privy Councils looked into the duties imposed, and they considered the arguments, they considered what the Constitution says, and they came to the conclusion that there was nothing in the regime that would violate legal professional privilege, and largely because everything begins with the lawyer himself or herself having a belief that something suspicious is going on. Now, if a person has confessed something to you, you don't have to think you don't have to have a belief that something suspicious is going on. So if it is said and shared with you in the context of legal professional privilege, there's no duty on you to report it.
So let me see if I'm understanding what you're saying in regards to that. If Percival comes to Minette,
yes,
and says to Minette, say, this money that I'm using to buy this house, I get it through drugs. And I tell you that. That's it. Now you are doing the transaction for me. What happened?
All right. At that point, you're in the realm of iniquity.
Okay. So
because the law says it is an offense for certain things to happen.
Okay.
So at that point, the two of you are on a criminal enterprise.
Okay.
My duty at that point is to say to you, Percy, you cannot spend your drug money purchasing real estate.
Okay.
I cannot I advise you against this transaction.
Okay.
I make a note on my file to say client advised against pursuing transaction, retainer not taken. I close it. That has occurred in the context of my giving you legal advice on how you can proceed. There's no duty on me to report it. You now have to carry your bag of cash somewhere else.
Okay.
And somebody else can handle that.
So that is what
and I put it
saying.
So that's what the Privy Council was saying, that when you are, but let's say, let me be clear on it first. The Privy Council is saying, and I think so did our two courts in Jamaica, if an attorney comes into knowledge of a crime or a proposed crime or some illegal enterprise in the course of advising the client, that knowledge which he acquires is subject to legal professional privilege.
Right.
You're under no duty to disclose anything.
Right, but
full stop.
And the full stop is that
if he comes to you, he has a lot of cash, large amount of cash. He says, I'm prepared to pay cash on the deposit and make cash payments at various intervals. You have put him through your know your customer client questions. He gives you no answer that explains the cash. You're suspicious. That is the suspicion that you're to report. He hasn't given you any reason not to take the matter, except that is a lot of cash. you no doubt would say to him, this amount of cash, I have to, what is your source of funds? Bring documents. Him bring you something. You file them as you normally would, because I think if you, the lawyer, gonna put that in the bank, you have to put supporting documents for the bank to accept it.
Okay.
You go through it, the bank accept it, the transaction is going on, but you are unsettled in your knowledge and awareness of things because you're not satisfied 100% that you've been told the truth. You report that.
Okay, so you have a...
And it's for somebody else to take it forward.
So you report and say, no, say this man comes, so yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So that's real life.
Right.
It's real life.
Now, everything that passed between lawyer and client is confidential because it is the client's business. It's not yours. If he can consent to waive the confidence and permit you to speak, or he can be out there talking his business, which a lot of clients do. But you, the lawyer, can't put it out there. The information you put out there concerning your suspicion is what the law specifically permits and requires you to do, because it's your suspicion and because there is no duty of confidence that can cover you in concealing reasonable suspicion or knowledge of a crime. That's why under the protection of any regulation that deals with the protection of children, persons who know something are required to say it. The law imposes that duty on citizens. Similarly, in the medical fraternity, a gunshot wound is to be reported. Even though doctor-patient confidentiality exists, the law imposes that duty on you. So the courts had to look at whether or not the imposition of such a duty, which is a breach of confidence, is permissible under a regime that is seeking to contain a particular type of criminal activity that will damage the whole society. And we don't have to guess how that damaged the whole society. It's not the money that gets spent in the country. It is the way the country itself can become prejudiced in conducting its affairs on the national stage. When banks don't want to deal with you, we are already suffering from that in Jamaica.
Okay.
So you have, of course, the cash being on the street and impacting a lot of things. But the truth of the matter is, whether lawyers were told to speak up or not, that cash would be on the street. But then that's the police work.
Yeah.
When we make it easier, meaning professionals who are dealing with transactions, when we make it easier for that cash to be introduced into the system and mess up the economics of the country sometimes, because
mess up the economics?
Of course, because take, for example, a business that is profiting from illicit funds looks way more profitable than the one that is having to actually work based on demand and supply.
Okay.
You out there, you're a fisherman. You're a legitimate fisherman. You sell what you catch. Another man have cocaine in the middle of his cash. His business is always booming, well packaged and looking fresh on the shelves, while you trying to figure out why people don't want to pay that kind of money for my fish.
You know, in counseling, it's interesting that you said, just remind you of the tar-soft principle.
Yes, I saw your research.
Yeah, because when people come and as a client, I have to say, well, just tell you what rules we're operating in terms of confidentiality. First thing, if you come and you indicate that you are going to kill yourself, we have the law, we have a duty to report it so that you don't do that. And if during the course of study you have injured a child or something like that, we have to report that. So it becomes so very important, the tar-soft principle, and it actually went to court. As a case, people can look at it in terms of the mental health professional in working with a gentleman indicated that was going to bring harm to somebody. I never took it on serious, and he went and killed the person. And so the tar-soft principle apply. That is just to summarize it. So you are saying, in regards to it, is a kind of similar thing.
Yes.
Yes.
If you have reason, and it's just that it's what good citizens do. Let me give you some examples now of the things that made attorneys make such reports. Large cash deposits, especially in U.S. currency. Cash deposits used to purchase U.S. drafts for third parties. Refusal to provide source of funds information. Inability or refusal to provide adequate know your customer information. Inability or refusal. Structuring of cash deposits, that is, deposits made frequently just below the threshold.
That's $1 million.
Yes. Clients' funds being placed on investment accounts in the attorney's name. So now they're trusting you with their money. Clients' funds being used in risky investment enterprises, including internet gaming and unlicensed alternate investment schemes. Well, that one is going to lose steam because when you put it in licensed investment, it's just as risky. Attorneys' accounts being used to transfer questionable funds internationally. Multiple remittances being received from different senders. Large outbound transfers with reasons given for these transfers not being credible. Multiple foreign exchange conversions with limited source of funds information. These are things which attorneys saw that made them suspicious, and they filed a report. So you can get a sense of how persons with illicit funds behave. Funds from clients who are under investigation or who have been charged by the police being transferred to accounts in the names of their attorneys. So a man who you're not doing any big set of work for says, all right, you can hold $2 million US for me. Why? Inactive or dormant accounts being activated to receive large wire transfers. This is from the Privy Council report detailing the information in one of the affidavits filed by the FID to demonstrate why it is necessary for lawyers to be a part of the regime. That man who did the affidavit, Mr. Stevens, explained that there were over 200 reports filed in relation to attorneys practicing in Jamaica, but up to the time of his affidavit, only 2 lawyers had ever been arrested and charged. Now, I look at that and I would say that means your filing the report doesn't put you at a high risk of you yourself being charged or but what it certainly does, this regime, it puts attorneys on their guard and on notice that when you see something that is suspicious to you first, don't pursue it and become a part of the criminal activity. And two,
iniquity even run from it.
And two, put yourself in a position to let others take it forward.
But what it the
I'm gonna find
what flee the
very appearance of evil.
If you think the word of God is not, you see the appearance and it look like something wrong. And as you pointed out, the whole thing of iniquity, the judges.
Yes, I'm gonna find that now. Where the Privy Council used the word iniquity, quite a strange word coming from those quarters. But what can I say? The Lord is magnificent. Right. At paragraph 5 of their decision, they said, for present purposes, the guaranteed rights in issue are privacy, liberty, and freedom from search of property. Privacy is guaranteed under our Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedom. Liberty is also guaranteed, and they recite the sections. Freedom from search of property is guaranteed. For the determination of in these, did I go to the wrong paragraph? I should go to paragraph 29. Yeah, so I'm reading you that paragraph. I'll just finish it. For the determination of the issues in these proceedings, the most important of these guaranteed rights is privacy, because at the end it was looking at privacy between attorney and client, because everything that happens between the attorney and the client is protected by either professional privilege or by a duty of confidentiality. So they had to look at what are the bases on which that right of privacy could be violated. And then they came up with the statement of the principle, which does not cover knowledge of wrongdoing. I was saying it to someone recently, and I do hope that when he reads the decision, yes, it's in paragraph 29. I don't want to read it too long. While it may be that the threshold for the suspicious transaction report obligation, namely knowledge or belief that there could be money laundering, or the existence of reasonable grounds for such knowledge or belief, may often mean that the principle that there is no confidence in iniquity will remove any relevant confidentiality. That is the point. You are not bound by a duty of confidence in respect of criminal activity. If you see something, say something. If you have reason to believe that something wrong is going on, you have a duty to act. I'm going to pull away from this a little because it's going to come up a lot of times in the coming week, I expect. In this week, I expect that more and more persons are going to be seeking to find out now, are my secrets safe with my lawyer? Because there's no limitation on some of these things, you know. Meaning, if something come up and your lawyer's documents are a relevant source of information, the police can get to it. The police can get to it. So you may be asking, are my secrets safe with my lawyer? If your secret was disclosed in the context of your taking legal advice on an issue or litigation in which you are involved, that is covered by legal professional privilege and your secret is absolutely safe. Even if the GLC comes into knowledge of it accidentally, they are prevented from disclosing it to anyone. So the duty on your lawyer is binding also on those who see it. It cannot be used against you. If your secret came about in the course of your doing a transaction with the attorney on which you're not taking legal advice, like you're buying real estate, you're not taking legal advice. There are some elements of it where you may get legal advice, but your source of funds and how you handle the financing of it is not legal professional privilege. The fact of the matter is whatever you tell the lawyer is duty bound to repeat it to the bank. And the bank is supposed to be repeating it to FID.
To see if there something wrong with it.
If something is wrong with it. So though it's confidential between you and the lawyer can't go and tell anybody else outside of the transaction, still much of what you know to be confidential between you and lawyer gets repeated within the context that it has to be used to give effect to your transaction. The secretary going to know it, the paralegal going to know it, the bearer going to the bank might know it, and for sure the bank and the lawyers on the other side would know it. Yes.
Yeah, but
this obligation on citizens to say something if you see something suspicious. It came up. There was a story reported in the paper on the weekend. A university student. Something that could have never happened in our time.
You're mad.
We never have them kind of apartments that they have where students are living like, working people out there with their own apartment building and anyway, certain refinements that we didn't have. A student, a female student, was held captive for about 3 days by a male student who was her boyfriend. It is described as her boyfriend, and tortured.
Yeah.
Burn marks were on her body. He apparently used an iron. I don't know. I didn't read cigarettes, but And clearly her phone was taken from her. She was found to be under some form of restraint. She was locked up and tied up. I am assuming they must have gagged her because in whatever confined space they occupied, neighboring students did not know. Or so it is said. But this is one of those prime situation of if you suspect wrongdoing, if you have reason to be concerned about the welfare of your neighbor, your friend, whatever, speak up, man. My roommate or somebody that live on hall and I know their movements to some degree and nobody see them for 3 days and man telling people that she's sick. She's sick and nobody got to visit. She's sick and in his room. Nobody's tearing down the door to see if she's okay.
To minute. A long time I see minute, you know. Because that's how we were on hall. And if somebody was sick, we'd know.
You could never be sick and in your boyfriend room for 3 days.
Something wrong in her heart. Something wrong with her.
And it's really only when the college administration had identified a roommate for her and were trying to reach her and not finding her that a welfare check was made and that led to the boy's room and he's in custody and they didn't mention his name and they're adults and they should mention his name.
No, it is.
I wondered if it was a foreign student.
Probably.
Anyway, that to me is one of those cases that exemplify why it is that as citizens living in communities,
that's important.
If you see something suspicious, something that don't sit well with you, speak on it. I can only imagine the many times that there were transactions in this SSL thing that gave somebody a feeling of disquiet.
Maybe, and they never think.
And they didn't act on it. 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock break.
When we come back, we're going to open the lines. There are all kinds of other things that we need to speak about. But you know, as it is, when you engage with us, it will bring it out. So we'll take our break and then we'll be right back.
Boss FM 100.5 on your dial. Keep listening.
Hello, I'm Maura Alderson with the BBC News. Thousands of Israelis are protesting outside Parliament in Jerusalem against a bill they say will undermine the independence of the judicial system. Inside the Knesset, chaos reigned as legislators quarrelled about the legislation. Yolande Nell is in Jerusalem.
You've got just a sea of Israeli flags here, some very serious expressions among the crowd. And I've spoken to people who say that they have never been to a demonstration before, but they felt compelled to come along to this one, in some cases to bring their children as well. And actually hundreds of private firms have given their workers the chance to strike today so that they could join this protest. That includes people I've seen from law firms, people from high-tech startups. And really, people in this crowd feel that Israeli democracy is under threat.
The Cambodian government has ordered the last independent news organisation in the country to stop operating. The Prime Minister, Hun Sen, took offence at an article published by VOD, or Voice of Democracy. He accused the organisation of attacking him and his son. The president of Eritrea, Isaias Afwerki, has accused the United States of supporting Tigrayan rebel forces during the war in northern Ethiopia. Speaking to local media, Mr. Isaias also admitted for the first time the enormity of the 2-year conflict. Emmanuel Igunza reports.
President Isaias gave little evidence for his claims, but said Washington had rushed through a peace deal between the Ethiopian government and the Tigray People's Liberation Front to prevent the battlefield defeat of the rebels. In his words, the TPLF leadership had started crying and was preparing to flee in the face of a lightning offense. The authoritarian leader did not say how many Eritreans died in what was an exceptionally bloody war, but he dismissed the many credible claims that his troops were responsible for war crimes.
With more than 35,000 people now confirmed dead in the Turkish and Syrian earthquakes, the UN aid chief says a week on, the emphasis is switching from rescue efforts to caring for survivors. Speaking in the northern Syrian town of Aleppo, Martin Griffiths said shelter, food and schooling are now needed urgently. Speaking from Gaziantep, the head of emergency operations for the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, Jamie Lasser, echoed those priorities.
We need shelter. Shelter is the absolute priority of government. Tents, tents, tents. This is the thing that people need. And I can attest, I sleep outside too. It is cold here. Winterized shelter is priority one. But it's important also to highlight that tents are a very temporary solution. So we want to move quickly into prefabricated shelters for long term.
An independent commission in Portugal has found nearly 5,000 children were abused inside Roman Catholic Church institutions since 1950. The Portuguese Catholic Church has already said it will take appropriate measures. BBC News. Russia's Wagner mercenary army has published a video apparently showing the execution of one of its soldiers for surrendering to the Ukrainians. The video shows the brutal punishment being carried out with a sledgehammer. The man said he'd been recruited in prison, but at the front he then realised it was not his war. Beijing says the United States has been flying balloons over Chinese airspace. The Foreign Ministry said this had happened on more than 10 occasions since January last year. The allegations come 9 days after the US shot down over its territory a Chinese device it says was used for spying. Since then, the Americans have downed 3 other flying objects. Their exact nature is not known, as Stephen McDonnell reports.
US military says it's deliberately not saying balloon because they said they don't know what form of propulsion they're using. They don't know who put them up there or what they are. So it is all very strange, except that China isn't being accused at the moment of putting these objects above North America. And the Chinese government today said that it didn't know anything about them. All very mysterious, and you would just hope that after the debris of these other objects is retrieved, that we'll get some answers.
A high-profile trial in Indonesia has ended with a death sentence for a former police general convicted of shooting dead an aide. Prosecutors had called for a life sentence for Ferdi Sambo, an ex-inspector general, but the 3 judges unexpectedly imposed the death penalty after finding him guilty of premeditated murder. Researchers in France have warned that the Eurasian lynx is likely to disappear from the country within the next 30 years because of a loss in genetic diversity. Scientists say 150 adult lynx in the mountains of northeastern France are cut off from healthier wildcat populations in Germany and Switzerland. That's the latest. BBC News.
Business owners, what do you want our listeners to know about your business? Check out the Business Spotlight every Thursday at 11:15 a.m. inside Lifted with Darren Chosen Smith, catering to all your advertising needs. Call our sales and marketing department now at 876-276-5072 or 876-887-0800 or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road off Hadley Park Road. That's the Business Spotlight right here on Best 100 FM.
Half a tree, 100, half a tree. Bossy, how you do I take taxi start?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and I check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me send you.
You big star. Yeah, man. Respect my boss. Try and call him, cause trust me.
Good afternoon.
What a relief.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-time taxi service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
From anywhere at all, you can call us at 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
Having trouble getting parts for your Mazda? Maljam Auto Parts is your solution. Find Maljam at the new and convenient location of Upper Ocean Park Road at 9 Kingswood Avenue. Maljam Auto Parts, with over 25 years experience, providing all Mazda parts, new and used. Call 923-4389 and 461-1786. Maljam Auto Parts, serving your Mazda needs.
Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. God is good. This is already Pastor and friend, Reverend Simon Peter Jones, inviting you, my friends, to listen every Tuesday evening on Best 100 FM at 7:30 p.m. for the program, The Voice of Hope, as we extend hope to the hopeless in this dying world. God is good. Be encouraged. Hope is in.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
Believe me, so easy. 1, 2, 3. Jamaica, we're going up and not under. No more slaves any longer. We were once weak, but now we are stronger, stronger, stronger. Join me, Darren Chosen Smith, Mondays to Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. inside Lifted, right here on Best 100 FM, 100.1 to 100.9 FM. Tune in and be informed, motivated, entertained, and spiritually lifted. Your weekdays will never be the same again. Mondays to Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. inside Lifted on Best 100 FM, 100.1 to 100.9 FM. With yours truly, Darren Chosen Smith. Tune in and be lifted.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on the Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back, and please remember that the numbers to call us as we open the lines are 876-619-1508 and 876-279-8473. Engage with us. Let's hear your views. This morning we've talked about a number of things. Right now, we ended the segment before, looking at the implications of this ruling by the Privy Council. And for those who are talking about whether Privy Council versus Caribbean Court, and or just being settling for our Court of Appeal, please understand that the Privy Council added nothing new to the mix. In fact, their judgment is like 30-something pages because the full court, Constitutional Court of Jamaica and the Court of Appeal had really worked the issue over. Each court saying ending at the same place, maybe slightly different reasons, and it was really the Jamaican Bar Association wanting to be excluded from the regime for the under the Proceeds of Crime Act that caused the matter to go the distance that it did. But as I said before, don't penalize the lawyers for wanting absolute clarity on the point, because they were also seeking to protect the rights of clients who have told them many things, which if they were to repeat it, would get the client in trouble. They were fighting to protect the guaranteed, the constitutionally guaranteed right of privacy, freedom from search, and the protection of privileged information given to them by clients. That is the bedrock of the lawyer-client relationship. You must be absolutely free to speak to your lawyer so that you can get the best advice. And it also covers those who are trying to launder money. If you come to find out how the law will treat certain transactions where you cannot explain how you got the money, and the lawyer gives you the advice, that advice, as well as the information you give them, must go to the grave with all concerned.
You know, Minute,
Yeah.
they talk, commit your ways unto the Lord if the ways that you're committing is not above board,
if it's
are not righteous, if it is iniquitous, you leave it alone. And then the other thing, that injunction had come, flee the very appearance of evil. So we have to encourage our lawyers when they see it.
You know, and it's so funny that lawyers would have protested so much in a way, because all of us are saying to people who witness crimes, we encourage them to say what they know.
Come whistleblowers.
Lawyers say, tell us what you know so we can mount a good defense. The police say, tell us what you know so we can investigate properly. So really, all citizens have to be at the same level of commitment to truth and righteous living. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection. We lost our first call. That one was,
remember the numbers
was a gift
to call,
to the Lord.
876-619-1508 and 876-279-8473. Good morning, caller. Welcome.
Good morning to you both. The team on the list.
Good morning, Jigsaw.
Good morning,
How are
Jigsaw. How are you?
Well,
Something with our phone lines. Good morning, caller. I think we have another call that came in.
No, well, let's see what the lines deliver. But in the meantime, there is letter of the day from Attorney at Law Bert Samuels, and he is explaining what makes the ruling so frightening for him. We're going to take a look at that in between the calls as they come in. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you today?
We're giving thanks, sir. Giving thanks to the Creator.
Always.
How are you, Pastor?
I am great, man.
How are you, Mrs. Minute?
I am well, thank you very much. Giving thanks like you.
Yeah, a few quick things. One, I was listening to a program called on IRFM yesterday, and there was a former FBI agent. He's present, probably a lawyer.
Yes.
Letting us know that 400 million US were missing, can't give accounted for from the loan we got from the IMF to for the kiddie package for the people that move obviously and
So is he working in Jamaica or he is working out of the US?
I don't know, but it was his second interview. I remember
Okay. I'm only curious about how he explained his access to that information or his knowledge of that.
Okay, so he's a farmer, SBI agent, and he's presently a lawyer. In fact, the people request him back.
Yes.
Really makes sense. But my question is, if we fiddle off with our 400 million US, and obviously the taxpayer have to pay back that. I mean, some people like the Prime Minister and the Ministry of Finance and Christoph are supposed to tell us something or pack them back. I mean, we can't run a country like this, minute. 400 million, look at the garbage on the road.
Well, so you know, I'm starting from the position of just making my own assessment as to the truthfulness or not the accuracy of that information, because I mean, 400 million US dollars is not million. Yeah. 400 million US dollars is not
a chicken feed.
That's not something you would miss.
One particular politician would say a chicken feed that.
There would be some fat chickens. But the point I'm making is movement of money of that magnitude out of a small country like Jamaica would be easily picked up. Wherever it is, that is a game-changing amount of money. So it may be that proper accounts are not yet available, or there might be any kind of way to put it, but that it's been stolen by government.
Yes,
it would have to be with the complicity of the IMF.
Well, I figure some the IMF lend us money and they set up policy, or I think from somewhere lend the money, they just want, obviously if they lend them must satisfy in terms of how you're going to pay.
Oh, you're gonna
what you want to do with it?
No. IMF money and no money that they don't just write you a check and leave you alone. It's draw down in tranches. It's money going to specific places. It's not money that a minister could say send it to that account, or Bank of Jamaica would have to be involved.
Yeah, because that's serious money.
That's a serious amount of money, but IMF money is not open check money.
To my little knowledge, based on the 2 years lockdown of COVID and certain people supposed to get care package, it was everybody, because you have to have internet, and also I think how much Jamaican people have internet to access this money. Why is it that if you supposed to, obviously people not working for the 2 years, why you don't just have people coming with them idea and them TRN to a particular bank and collect this money? Why this? But you see, in Jamaica, they make life so hard for the average people. It's like, I remember you have to survive, because look at it now. I don't even talk about infrastructure. I don't even talk about the job. But I have a friend. He buy a car, he call me up to last, and he buy a car for almost $1 million. Go in the taxi business, apply, spend money, do everything, waiting on the road license, pass a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And because our police record, because a police stop him and him tell the police, say, empowered police. The police charge him, in person to police. And this man can't be sitting down, him daughter go to school, him not working, and now the guy can't get the road license because him say, him have to have a police record. The police record, people them give them a letter to them to transport at Maxwell Avenue. Them refuse it. I advise them, say, go to Ministry of Justice up next door, go up Tansan Spring. They gave them a letter. They gave three of them a letter, and they turn on this particular person again. Plus the other two get the letter, get the road license. And then you tell me no minute, this country no criminal because my daughter paid.
So he's in a situation where there's no process for him to appeal, to go to a higher level with the refusal of this letter.
With the road license, they have to come in with the police record. The people with the police record say, all right, you can't get the police record until the expungement. The expungement take 1 year.
Oh, I see.
Apply for the expungement. fine. The people them at the police can bring come to him, give him the letter. And go down to Maxwell Avenue, right, cross some windows, so they turn it down. And go to the installment place, they gave him a letter about 2 weeks ago, they turn him down. And I'm more police because obviously these people, politicians, put them friends.
Hold on.
All right, Pastor gonna say something to you, and then I'd like to say something to you as well.
Let me see if I understand. So, he's applied for expungement.
No, don't repeat it.
Yeah.
Here's what I want to say to you. There is a necessity for all of us when we are planning business ventures to do a proper investigation of what it takes before we spend the money in pursuit of whatever business we set our hearts on. And I'm saying it to you because we can save ourselves a lot of grief and stress by being sensible and doing the necessary research. If you know that in order for you to get a permit to carry out this business, you need a police record, and your record not clean, there's a process of expungement that is necessary before you can get it. You are creating stress for yourself if you go and spend the money, buy the car, do everything, and you don't as yet know when you can start your business. I'm only saying that because the necessity of having persons with a clean record on the road is one that we cannot deny. It is a part of good governance.
That's true.
So if you know that many years ago you did something and it clouded your record, but it's been many years and you're a new person now and the thing can be expunged, get it expunged before you move, because you can't control the time in which some of these things take place. And it's true that we should be more efficient, but it's very tough to balance all of that when you yourself didn't take the necessary step. That's why you see the lawyers who are there saying, leave us out of some of these things so we can enjoy the confidence of our clients. It should not cost a citizen too much to go and say, I want to do this business. What are the rules of it? How do I go about it? I've had to get expungement letters and police letters from the court for persons who even need visa, because after they've set their business and they're ready to they discover that they can't go to this or that country without a police report. We need to be a lot more sensible, business-like in how we set about doing certain
dedication
things.
To it. Yeah. So
but Pastor, a minute.
Yes.
Tell me where in Jamaica the law. Tell me what. The average people want to know about if you rape, you rob, you shoot somebody, you go to prison. Tell me how much people in Jamaica, the average people, know about the law. Did the government run an education thing to let?
No, not many, and not many know.
And that is the challenge we have.
Not many know, but ignorance of the law is no excuse for setting about it the wrong way, because you're tripping over lawyers in this nation, and everybody know that they can go and consult and find out. Even if you go to the same police station or the traffic authority, to me, and this we were talking about education and the value of it and how it moves people up. You should never assume in a modern society that you can just get up and put a stall by the side of the road. Or that there must be a process involved in doing business.
Law and order, yeah.
Yes, that's
because you call and speak about that every day in a caller. If you speak about law and order, and in order, law and order has two sides. Two sides to the coin. What government must do and what the people need to do, because if it's been broken down on one side, then it's going to be broken. So
you can't stand up on the other.
So it's important, and I understand the pain. What I'm
saying is other people get to remember that all the guys to the police say him stop him and impersonate the police to do a crime or robbery. So I would need for no family and say I want to be some man. I mean, it's a simple thing. It's very simple. Man out there have millions of dollars. Man get killed a man out of man. So the man have him daughter go university. The man have to eat. There guys are the ignorant, yes, but I am saying you get a letter from
You're asking for mercy then.
The police record office. You get a letter from Minister Secretary. There's no way you can go to get a letter and say, well, all right, give you this until the process and
Expungement.
It's a simple thing. Now we need to stop creating this hardship for our Jamaican citizens. That's something we do. So the first thing PNP and the GSP, them put them people them all over the place, so them all rob and I do them crap them people, them protect them.
All right.
Well,
okay. All right.
My brother.
All right. Okay.
You know, one of my.
I cry, and the transport and Lindos Road, right, and Max Avenue, can't say 2 letters, and the man can't go and look on the Bluebird. It means that the man can 1 million, and you can't, nobody to say yes.
He does need help, my brother. He does need help, but he does not need the kind of help that makes it worse. He needs someone with experience and can advocate for him. That is why so many people do law.
Okay.
That's why so many do law. Yeah, 1 or 2 good letters, a phone call.
I went up there Friday and the first thing the security I said them about me and she was
yeah, you're not gonna get through like that. You need somebody to advocate on his behalf.
Okay.
All right, we have another call, and we hope that it goes well for your friend.
That we have a drought situation in Jamaica. We have so much empty that. All that possible.
And what kind of situation, my brother?
We're having a drought situation now every year, water crisis, and we are so educated that we can get some of these empty lots and the dam built from.
Oh, that's another solution. All right.
All that possible.
All right, my brother.
We have a water resource
authority.
You know, that should be on top of their game. But you see, that's again part of the bad governance. That we're not handling the people's business. Whatever it is we're doing, citizens are not satisfied.
All right, my brother. I have another call on that. So you can call.
Yeah, tell him. Please. Yeah.
Good. All right, yeah, man.
All right, my brother. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, my lady.
Oh, my brother, you're in just under the wire. In a minute, it's going to be 8:30.
So if you
no, man, I can't wait. Right?
All right, so let me encourage the engineer to start it early then.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back.
Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. God is good. This is already pastor and friend, Reverend Simon Peter Jones, inviting you, my friends, to listen every Tuesday evening on Best 100 FM at 7:30 p.m. for the program, The Voice of Hope, as we extend hope to the hopeless in this dying world. God is good. Be encouraged. Hope is in
Jamaica, we're going up and not under. No more slaves any longer. We were once weak, but now we are stronger, stronger, stronger. Join me, Darren Chosen Smith, Mondays to Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. inside Lifted, right here on Best 100 FM, 100.1 to 100.9 FM. Tune in and be informed, motivated, entertained, and spiritually lifted. Your weekdays will never be the same again. Mondays to Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. inside Lifted on Best 100 FM, 100.1 to 100.9 FM. With yours truly, Darren Chosen Smith. Tune in and be lifted.
Business owners, what do you want our listeners to know about your business? Check out the Business Spotlight every Thursday at 11:15 a.m. inside Lifted with Darren Chosen Smith, catering to all your advertising needs. Call our sales and marketing department now at 876-276-5072 or 876-887-0800 or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road off Hadley Park Road. That's the Business Spotlight right here on Best 100 FM.
Half a tree, 100, half a tree. Bossy, how you do I take taxi start?
Chano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and I check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? You waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters, auto, have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose your problem and get back your transmission brand new with them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. You hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me send you.
You big star. Yeah, man. Respect my boss. Try and call him, cause trust me. What a relief.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-time taxi service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
From anywhere at all, you can call us at 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
Best 100 FM presents the Mature and Moving Up Show, Lascelles Butch Chen, on Thursdays from 6 to 9 p.m. Welcome to this pioneering radio program on our continuing work in our maturing years, compellingly defined, educate, and liberate the younger generation. Tune in.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back. Good morning, Enlighten. Thanks for holding.
Good morning, Pastor. Yeah, I listen to this call, you see? What going on is this the informal culture and narrative of lawlessness for survival in this country.
Aye. That's a mouthful, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, man, and because you see, some of that what he's saying. You have a program that on the radio named Under the Law.
Under the Law, yeah.
50 years that thing is going, you know. So that man come and and come talk about people don't know the law and all them type of thing. It's just lawlessness how we operate in this country and informality that we operate in this country. Mm-hmm. And people in high places must explain to the people and tell them that that's the reason why some of them can't get through. Mm-hmm. Understand?
But let me ask you a question, Enlighten. Do you think that in terms of how we govern and do things, that somehow even though the laws are in place, that the way that we operate in terms of governance, we foster the lawlessness? You think so?
Yes, in a way, but if you don't really want to break the line, Jamaica, you don't have to break the line.
Mm-hmm.
I am in my 70s, close to 70 right now,
mm-hmm.
and I have never thrown not even a sweetie paper on the street.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So that is a great commentary on your character, because likewise I would say I would never think of starting a business. No, anyway, I wouldn't think of starting a business without setting about finding out what you need. Well, even if all me I do, I talk to my friend who I do it. Even if that's what it is, I would have to make that inquiry. And that's the level of discipline that we want to inculcate in our citizens, where before you step out to do something, you acquire the knowledge.
Yeah, and the knowledge is there.
It's not hard to acquire.
Mm-hmm.
The knowledge is there if people want to find out things what they're supposed to do or what they're not supposed to do.
It is there. It's there.
But the lawlessness in us that we and it's informality in us that we just refuse to just go buy one car, man, and put it on the road and start running on taxi, man.
Well, there is a good side to that. Hear what I'm gonna say now. It is good that people feel that this is a nation in which they are free to pursue whatever they want to. Because I'm thinking about it and I'm saying such boldness to say, I want to do this and I just do it, and I want to do that and I just do it. And it's good that people have that sense of freedom, but wisdom says that you make the proper investigation to go about doing it the right way.
Right.
That freedom becomes a humbug if you don't have the wisdom to move properly.
Yeah, but no organized society in the world operate that way.
Yeah, but
no organized society in the world operate the way we want our society to operate.
But you see, there's a long walk to get to being an organized society, and there's a long walk. It don't happen overnight. And a part of making that journey is having an educated population.
And making it easier, because, one of the things that just occurred to me, why there's so much corruption in our system is that for a lot of processes we make it so difficult, complicated and if somebody says, but if you do A, B, C, D, E, and you can do all of this in one place, you eliminate a man say, what, maybe give something, I just deal with it for me.
Yeah. But listen, I believe it's in nature of us as Jamaicans,
No,
why
sir.
all right. I buy the letter, and I buy the letter, and I say, and you join the line, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you see people come along and it at the end of the line. I just see people want to go in the bus, and nobody wants to line up to go in. The bus is empty, like everybody line up, everybody go inside.
Yeah,
that's not that funny.
but for Lotto, they join the line.
No, they join. All right, they join the line to buy the Lotto, right?
Yes.
And so there's too much in Jamaica that you can't understand how the people think.
As you said that, have you ever, we drive all over the place, and you see the road empty, right? There's no traffic, and you see the bus, I cut the line. I say, you ever say that? You're driving along, there's no traffic, and instinctively, the person just cut the line and come out and make a third line. I say, what is happening here? There's no traffic. There's no reason to do it.
It is just in our DNA, because we see, because listen, I don't believe if you go to America and you want to do a business, or Canada, it is more easier than doing it in Jamaica, I don't believe that.
Emperor Theophilus says it's the colonial setting.
We develop a culture that if you see it now driving on the road, you're driving behind a vehicle, and if you leave a little space, just a little space, I'm gonna cut between you. Same thing that just actually characteristic of Jamaicans, You leave a little space between you and a man that cut it, and you see make a big drive, and you will see him stop down the road, not him couple chains away.
Yeah, what happened? What was that in aid of? Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I could say a lot about that, but I don't believe that it truly betrays an inherent lack of discipline on our side or an inability to be disciplined, because as you rightly say, we'll go to another country and fall in line with what the people there are doing. But you see, there's a lot to be said about, one, the sense that anything can go in this environment, because from the top there is a lack of leadership, structure, good governance that flows down like the oil from ear and beard.
So, I was in a taxi some time ago, a couple years ago. I was in Maypen, and some two ladies was in the back of the taxi, and they were sitting down, and they were, as the taxi driver reached on the main road. Them stop the taxi and they want to buy something.
Like a private car.
So you were sitting in the taxi all along, and this man come around and I felt thing I will never buy. Why not have to stop it on the road, right in the middle of the road, block up traffic and I buy something? The woman then look at me, I said, I don't make this, you can't do anything.
All right.
So that sums it up. That sums it up. Like the 13-year-old boy who believes he could get his license.
His driver's license.
And then, it's a Jamaica run. So one of the things, and we just have to change our mindset. Our mindset in our country.
I don't know where start the problem, but those are some of the things that the country can't move, And because of that, now you see the leaders will come from amongst us. At the same way them operating.
Yeah, because they are a product of the environment. So it does start with better quality leadership and governance structures that work and that people can trust. Because, to the comment that the listener online put, the colonial setting. The colonial setting is one where you do not trust the leaders. You can't trust the leaders because everything they do is to your disadvantage.
I have a problem. You say the colonial structure, remember, but you have to remember, in colonial time, it wasn't like this,
Yes, but you were not. But you were not at the center of their planning. You were a support service.
But certain things you couldn't do because to me, I sum it up, We got independent in 1962, and to me, Jamaica was like a pen. You have a pen with some cows.
Oh, that kind of pen.
And you never maintain the pen, so now you the gate.
Or the fence broke down.
You allow the pen to break down. All like how them just run out and they had about the place like a great chaos. We went into nationhood and we never teach the people them how to be Jamaican.
Yes,
and bring them feel a part of the society.
Well, it's still the notion of the two Jamaica. The one who is penning the papers and setting up the structure is of a Jamaica that is different from the other set of persons who are to be they're occupy the space, but they don't have the same standing.
Yeah.
And I think many of us, the ones who we're talking about now, who want to start a business and feel like you could just go set up a stall at the roadside, nobody can stop you, or there's no system, or you see everybody else do it. That person has a different concept of what it means to be Jamaican.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's one where he is constantly at odds with the system. It's one where the system is a hostile presence that is set up to block him and to restrict him and to fight him. So even you hear how the caller was expressing it is a struggle. It should not be a struggle because there's a need for transportation. There's a need for good drivers. There's a need.
Yeah. And with most of our system that we can't just allow anybody at all to be operating.
There you go. So even if all you're doing is making sure you know who's doing what, there still has to be a system and people have to. Anyway, I think I have great hope for Jamaica. I know that when you and I first spoke, your hope was less than mine.
But this hope is rising in the heart.
Hope is rising.
Hope is rising in enlightened self-interest heart.
All right.
All right. Have a good day. Good morning and welcome. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection. Good morning. All right. Until we get another call, what is it that you want me to highlight?
That's what today is.
Oh. Today is World Radio Day. Radio and peace is the tagline. We're celebrating World Radio Day. Isn't it interesting? And we're on radio. Good morning and welcome.
Yes, hello, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, my brother?
Hello, Malvern. How are you?
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I have a question. Miss Minute, your lawyers had there for a moment.
Yes, sir.
My neighbor, my neighbor, which is close to my house, very close to my house, is clearing the land,
mm-hmm.
and he's using chemicals to burn the vegetation.
Yes.
And he's also using fire to burn the vegetation too.
Yes.
The problem is that the smoke and the mist from the
spray, mixed from the spray, is getting into the house also.
Right.
My question is there any protection for a person like me?
Yes, sir.
NEPA.
Yeah, listen to me. I'm gonna pull up something and surprise Percival, because I did some research on the weekend.
Public health.
In the same issue, there's a piece of legislation that is called the Public Health Regulations, the Public Health Nuisance Regulations. And it sets out what a citizen, a landowner, is to do in the event that there is any kind of nuisance that is emanating from neighboring premises and constitute a risk to the health of either the environment or the persons who occupy adjoining land. And chief among them, well, the one I was researching, because that's what's happening with me where I live, I was researching the discharge of effluent that is noxious as well as just generally untreated. The other one that comes into play is the burning of bush or even using chemicals that can harm health and environment. The procedure that is laid out. So there are two things you can do. You can make a complaint to the health department. To there's a public health inspector. Give them the particulars. There's no special form that you filled out, although I created one. And, I said I was going to raise it on air this morning and offer persons who might need that kind of assistance some help in formulating those complaints. You can make a complaint to the public health inspector, and the public health inspector have the power and the duty to serve notice, carry out an inspection, impose on the person who create the nuisance the liability to pay for correcting or restoring the property that's been damaged by that nuisance. In the case where it is fire, you have to move very quickly. You have farm. Would the chemicals affect anything that you have planted on your property?
I think not.
Okay, so it's really just the
chemicals itself. No, but when he applies the chemicals by using his engine pump, the mist travels, rises, and is broadcasted over in my place, in my house.
Yeah, man. You're protected against it.
I see.
You're protected against it.
I am very happy to hear that, because for a moment I thought I was in a lawless and savage place.
No, you're protected against it. You could call the police as well. They would respond because of the fire or whatever some of those things, people need permission to do them. And it's the same point that came up earlier. The idea that you could just get up one morning and decide that you're going to do something that is potentially dangerous without even notifying your neighbor.
Not even telling them. We don't live in that kind of way.
Yeah. So dust, smoke, fumes, gases, or effluvia emitting from any process caused by the carrying on of any activity prohibited.
Yes, and those things are cancer causing,
Yes.
Carcinogenic.
Yes,
nature.
people know that now. And some of those things also leach into the water supply and affect other things that are happening.
Yes, it does, because, like I said, the mist is broadcasted and it reaches the water.
Yep.
Who should I call again? Where are they?
Public
Where are
health.
those people?
It's the public health. So you can always start at the what you call local government office. If there is any local government office that is close to you is a good starting point. And the regulations to remember is the public health nuisance regulations. It's just so sad that even in some of those offices, people are uneducated on these things. But it's the public health officer, inspector, I think is what they call him in the act. Public health inspector is who you need.
I find that there's a lot of ignorance about the law, because even when I was speaking to the man, he didn't understand that he has some obligation to protect his neighbor.
Yes.
He didn't understand that. He thought he was just free to do it.
Because he's doing it on his land and him now burn down nothing on your land and the way he does it. Absolutely. It's ignorance.
Yeah. I thank you for the information.
You're most welcome, sir.
All right, Melvin. Take care of yourself now.
All right, thanks.
You know, Percival, look on my paper.
That's all right.
2 things I wanted to address this morning for the well-being of our listeners. I wanted to deal with noise abatement, and I wanted to deal with nuisance, things that emanate from adjoining property and create a problem for the neighbor.
Noise abatement. Good morning, caller. Welcome. Good morning, connection.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Mr. Cruz?
Yeah, I have about 2 big things and 1 little more thing. That's 3.
Go ahead.
That caller just call about the people burning the stuff there.
Clearing the land with chemical and fire.
I used to live at a house in Goshen, and there was this guy that was burning coal. And all that smoke used to come into my bedroom, and black up all the clothes.
My Lord.
And my girlfriend, she was pregnant. And I didn't know that the coal was so dangerous.
Yes, man.
And she went to the hospital, had the child. The child lived for 2 hours and died.
Oh,
and
my Lord.
That was 2010. And the nurse asked her if I smoke. And if she smoked, and we didn't smoke. And I didn't know that the coal, burning of that coal was so dangerous.
Yes, man, it is.
So I lost a child from some guy burning coal not far from my house where I live.
But can I tell you, and you know, a part of it, as we're talking about it now, is just citizens being knowledgeable about what to do when certain things are happening, because wow, that is frightening. That's frightening. That's frightening.
That was 2010, and she got pregnant again. Yes, I was overworking, I guess, Pastor.
Pastor said nothing. You're just showing off now.
And this guy went back and was burning the coal again. So I decided, said, no, he's not going to kill this one. So I inquired, and they sent me up to the clinic.
Yes.
There was a public health lady there.
Right.
And she said I could go and call a fire brigade and get them to out that coal stuff.
Yes. What did you do? Or you move house?
And she sent one of her personnel out there to talk to the guy. And he pulled out the coal killer, and he didn't burn anymore.
Okay.
But he hated me for rest of his life. He never spoke to me again, but I didn't care, because if he didn't out that thing, I would get rid of him. He killed one of my child already, and he was not going to kill the other one, so I would kill him.
But you did the right thing. You went to the right place, and yes. But you know, you see, it's even things like that, because I'm sure, though you were the one immediately affected by it, I'm sure other people knew that coal was being burned in the middle of an area where people live.
Did you know that all the people I know that burn coal, they died from cancer?
Yeah.
Well,
it's a serious thing.
No, but it makes sense, because it's not a joke that inhaling the smoke and over time, it's gonna harm your health.
The other thing I want to talk about now, those 4 policemen in Black River.
Yes.
How come it's only one that got charged? That's strange.
No, tell me about the 4 policemen in Black River.
That raped that lady. They stopped her and
the traffic. Yes.
Yes, the traffic. How come it's only one that got charged?
it may be usually, persons get charged based on evidence and so on. Is it that it is known on the street that all four were a part of the assault or complicit in it, and because there are different charges that can be made?
They were there. All four of them were there.
Well, we wait and hear the evidence.
And they only charge one. I think because that one is from country. Because I know the guy that got charged.
So, but the evidence from the victim would have been determinative of who gets charged for what. Because these are evidence-based offenses.
Yeah, I know, but I'm wondering if they ask him to take the cover for everything.
There could be that too.
Or it could be
but that is wrong.
But it would have to be the girl, the victim would have to be complicit in that.
But Miss Minette.
And that's unlikely. If four persons raped her. When you say they were there, what do you mean?
They were, all four of them got locked up.
Yeah.
Yes, but maybe different reasons for three of them.
So, Miss Minette, why didn't those squaddies stop the guy from doing what he was doing?
That's another matter. That's
what I'm talking about. Yeah. Why didn't they say, no, man, you can't do that?
Well, but you know, as you talk about the squad mentality, and that's why I encourage people, you have to stand up for what you believe,
yes,
and what your character. Because some of the times, I've known of people who have gone against what people are doing, and they're ostracized and so on. But you see, them have to learn to live with themselves. So they probably experience, and they might tell them. Yeah, because some of the time people get caught too.
But it raises a lot of questions, because if it is that the three of them said, no, stop, pull him off, whatever, whatever their involvement, they were all arrested. What would have been the foundation for arresting all of them? If it is if there was evidence or reports that for some of these things, my brother, you wait, hear what the evidence is. Maybe I love it that citizens take an active interest in how justice is administered. You have to take an active interest, because that's your fate. If you were to get caught up in something, you want to know that the system works and that it works fairly and justly. So I'd be curious to know, the other elements of it. But I can tell you that in the first instance, persons are charged based on how the evidence flows. You should be asking me about the man who pleaded guilty to a gun crime and got a very light sentence.
You remember that was in the paper, yeah.
How was the evidence handled so that the prosecutor went ahead with a charge under a section that didn't apply and could only apply if there was evidence? I'm following what you're saying, because it's revealing that we have some deep problems.
Yeah, we have some law problem in this country, or justice or security, whatever you call it.
Yeah, administration of justice is flawed. Can you wait with me while we take the 9 o'clock break? It's
I'll call back. I never wait.
Keep to your standards, sir. We'll take our break.
Half a tree, one and drive. Bossy, how you do I take taxi start?
Chano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and I check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? You waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience, and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. You hear me? Call them at 929-7040. Or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13, and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me, send you.
You big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss. Try and call him, guys, trust me. What a relief.
Business owners, what do you want our listeners to know about your business? Check out the Business Spotlight every Thursday at 11:15 a.m. inside lifted with Darren Chosen Smith, catering to all your advertising needs. Call our sales and marketing department now at 876-276-5072 or 876-887-0800 or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road off Hagley Park Road. That's the Business Spotlight right here on Best 100 FM.
Veteran Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Veteran Printers, your best choice in printing.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-3825-8 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales for a better choice.
Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. God is good. This is already pastor and friend, Reverend Simon Peter Jones, inviting you, my friends, to listen every Tuesday evening on Best 100 FM at 7:30 p.m. for the program, The Voice of Hope, as we extend hope to the hopeless in this dying world. God is good. Be encouraged. Hope is in
Jamaica, we're going up and not under. No more slaves any longer. We were once weak, but now we are stronger, stronger, stronger. Join me, Darren Chosen Smith, Mondays to Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. inside Lifted, right here on Best 100 FM, 100.1 to 100.9 FM. Tune in and be informed, motivated, entertained, and spiritually lifted. Your weekdays will never be the same again. Mondays to Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. inside Lifted on Best 100 FM, 100.1 to 100.9 FM with yours truly, Darren Chosen Smith. Tune in and be lifted.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on the Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Good morning and welcome to the caller who's online.
Hello, good morning, Pastor.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing, my brother?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you? You good?
Yes, man.
You guys good?
Yes, my dear. Not complaining.
I'm saying good morning to the people in diaspora also, yeah. And all our listeners. Yeah, Pastor.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
It's a I want your view. You believe that the FBI is here, is investigating the SSL thing?
If I think they're here?
Yeah, you think they're here investigating the SSL thing?
I would think so. I don't believe that the government and other people could be saying that unless them, as we always say, carrying us down a rabbit hole. But one of the things in terms of their motivation, I believe it is because it involves their money, and anywhere their money is in question, they come. They even if you
they wouldn't come come without they invite them. If they won't come, they won't come by themselves.
You don't even understand how they're murdered.
No, they wouldn't come with them inviting them. They would come like they would watching or they will come.
Yeah,
but you believe that the Minister of Finance, because these people say things that they want people here at all time. To distract people, you know.
Okay.
You know that. And I see no I see no weird like you that say, well then you hear a person say, yeah, you know, I see they know and they're busy with more con whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Have you been checking? Have you been checking? You've been trying to
I do my underground check too, and I don't see no weird. They are here. I know they are at the embassy because they have an office at the embassy. You know?
Yes, but okay. So let's have a right understanding of what it means in a situation like this. You would not expect to see FBI agents at the police station seeking to interrogate witnesses. This is not like a seizure of goods that you would see them on site, making sure they eyeball the things that were taken. This is an investigation that is more concerned with tracing information, analyzing data, and it is a computer based. They don't even need to be physically on the ground to do this because remember now, you know, Jamaica does not have any banking relationships that don't traverse either the United States or the UK. So much of the work concerning this type of crime, you're not going to see people walking around demonstrating visibly that they are investigating anything.
No, I'm not saying that. But did you hear from the Jamaica? The person we hear from don't respond for security in Jamaica. So you don't hear it from the commissioner.
No,
you don't hear it from the minister of
finance.
Security.
But
and you don't hear it from the prime minister.
But here's how it operates. When foreign operatives are in your country, depending, and they're here all the time, you are only gonna hear it from a Jamaican source. Sometimes you don't hear it at all, depending on the nature of what they're doing. The truth is, there is no way that the Minister of Finance or the Prime Minister has announced it. The Prime Minister has announced it. There is no way the Jamaican government in any form could be saying that the United States government is involved in something when they are not. No way you could say that. You doubt that they're here? You doubt that they're here? You doubt that they're involved? Here.
And I'm going to tell you why I doubt it.
Okay, that's the more important part.
Especially on this case.
Yes.
First thing, if you notice the outlay of this case, if you're long, then you will take to start investigate this case.
I don't know that we can really say that, Raspal, because we are responding to information that is given to us at different times.
Look, you remember Cash Plus?
Yes.
You remember the same time when the man investigate Cash Plus, you hear who owned Cash Plus, Carlos Ilan, you hear who.
But none of that was a secret.
SSL.
None of that was a secret. Remember, that before Cash Plus became a case, there were protests going on and a lot of things happening in the public domain, and Cash Plus itself was putting out information. There was a case in court on the civil side having to do with bank accounts and so on.
Yeah, but did you hear who owned SSL?
Yeah, but that's in.
Of course, that's been well known for decades.
Yes.
But did you hear it mention or person name mentioned in English? It's just after a while.
No, sir, from the start.
From the start, if you did follow in the press, in terms of the principles are of the
I mean, you hear that the lady confess, and if someone confess and you don't have somebody who say, right now it's only us in both name here.
No, man. No, sir. The whole, you mean in terms of how the media covers it? Tell me, give me your theory, my brother, rather than we're picking at the margins now. Give me your theory. What's your theory?
Anyway, I don't believe the FBI. The FBI may be outside watching because me tell you now. You see, if the FBI should come here, most of them politicians, they have to investigate them too, because they're involved in our SSL thing.
But you're assuming that they've not investigated them. It's not because it's not out there in the public. Your assumption. Raspal, you hear what I say? You're making a big assumption that because you don't hear it out there.
And it's the experience we have with these politicians. If you notice, whenever time like them want any assistance, them go Israel, them go all France, But them now head up big north because them know that them would investigate too.
Yeah, but I don't think that in this situation the government invited the FBI. I think the FBI had an interest.
I'd have to really see the FBI and ground down here for FBI.
But let me just
go to your other point.
Go to your other point. Yeah.
The other point I want to make. How Jamaicans sit and let these traffic charge, right? The ticket them. A ticket dearer than the minimum wage. Who is that? Who is that? And not one ticket, not two tickets. Most ticket dearer than the minimum wage.
So, what are you saying? That it's reasonable, it's unreasonable, or not? What's your conclusion?
No, but that is unreasonable, man. Okay. A traffic ticket should be rather than a minimum wage.
Well, the first thing is that the fines are meant to be a deterrent. The fines are steep, so people will move carefully and not put themselves in a position where they have to pay it.
You have to look and
but there's no relationship between what you earn and what a fine is. The fine speaks to the severity of punishment that a crime deserves. It does not. It's not meant to fit your pocket.
What a person would still to be a fine?
No, the person is not going to commit the offense.
So that's what they're doing. So that's what.
And if you can't pay the fine, you spend time behind bars.
No, but I don't think that is really right. I don't think no traffic ticket is dearer than a day's work.
But a day's work for whom? Because maybe a driver not getting minimum wage.
I'm talking a minimum wage ticket.
Yes, but what I'm saying, minimum wage is not for bus drivers, or it. Anyway,
I want to listen to me say.
No, we
heard you respond.
Too expensive.
We heard you, Raspal, and we're saying to you that as a matter of social policy and governance, there is no relationship between the extent of a fine and what a person earns. The relationship is between the severity of the offense and the seriousness that a country wants to communicate about it. That's how you set a fine.
That's why there's so much hustling going on. Because when a ticket is so expensive, waiting. I'm on a drive,
No, but it's easier to just drive right and don't get a ticket.
It's like you clean up your police force.
No, but
the police force is clean. Then you have corruption from top to bottom.
Then drivers need to record every transaction between them and the police. If the police is extorting you, keep your camera in your vehicle and your phone on all the time. So when they come to give you a ticket without cause, you can say, "Officer, I am recording what is happening here. I am not at fault in any way. I have committed no offense. I am giving me a ticket."
The police are supposed to have camera on them.
Yes, they should.
You can't spend $100 million. $100 million if you spend on security for the year how much. And you know, put camera on the police and so go and put the camera for the police and
All right.
Yeah,
so
no, I agree with that.
We're agreement with that. So it's different things to know that you're talking about in a Raspal. The first thing.
No, I'm talking about the whole thing. The whole thing.
No, but you have to separate the issues.
If you have the camera up on the police, then can't.
Right, and then yes,
Right.
and then a driver.
Them severe. It always draw corruption because when a man to pay $20,000 for a ticket, a man can give a police $10,000. It's a better fee.
Okay, all right.
You understand what I'm saying?
But if we drive right and we obey the law, then the police don't have any route. No, but they don't have no basis. They don't have no basis.
Don't set because right now the taxi man is not in a place to park.
Okay.
So
that in itself,
Raspal. You have to get your thing together. The government has to get your thing
We're in agreement about that.
We're in agreement with you.
We have to get things together.
We're in agreement with about that. All right? So, good. All right. We have another caller, Raspal, but what I... Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. Good morning, caller. Welcome. Hello. And one of the things we have to do, you have to separate the issues, you know that's what happened to us. They are interrelated, but we have to look at the different issues to work through and to say how do we deal with them specifically. Good morning, caller. Welcome.
Good morning. A blessed morning.
Good morning.
God to the glory.
How you doing?
We live to see another day. God is good.
Yeah, man.
In the land of Jamaica.
Yes, sir.
Miss Minette,
yes, sir.
I'm showing this one to you. How can you have a bank in a bank? Explain that to me because I'm buffering with that one.
Oh, that's
in a bank?
A bank in a bank.
That sounds like a puzzle, and I don't have those skills.
Oh.
So explain it to me.
I'm doing a little research there, and I heard that there was a bank in a bank. There was somebody running a bank in a bank.
Yes, and that it was commonly said and understood that the lady in the SSL, at the center of the SSL debacle, was keeping a set of accounts.
Yes. So that means she owned that bank then.
Well, she certainly ran it.
Oh, so she's the CEO of that bank. So that would be TSL.
Huh?
So I'm trying to understand, as you are my learned friend, I just want to know because I'm baffling with it. A bank within a bank.
Well, the sad reality of it is I think many of the banks which are sacred cows in this country have a similar double life that they're living. And it falls to the regulators now to understand how easily that can be maintained and for how long, and get to the bottom of it, because that is where the righting of things in the society will begin to take place.
You know, my mom teach me to have manners, right?
Yeah.
So I have to say a morning to a couple of people. Mr. Fly Green, good morning to you, sir. Mr. Weekly, good morning to you. DPP, good morning. My finance minister, my road is still in a mess. I had a little hope the other day because I thought we're going to have a local election, but it's not going. So my road still, the potholes are still in my constituency, in your constituency also. Miss Mary, good morning in a good way. And Pablo, you're Paul. There's more question than answer, brother. More question than answer. Pictures in my mind does not show. Mr. Lawrence, how are you this morning, sir? Oh,
you're surprised that one.
I don't know if it's the one with the Monday Sunday. Nice, right? Something nice. Then we get in, Mr. Lawrence.
Oh, Monday Sunday.
Yes, I'm pastor. Boy, I'm telling you, yesterday I went on a mission and the whole harbor, the pastor wasn't there, so my brother Blackburn went to represent. It was a good look,
A good look.
A lot of people, not really full, but there's a lot of people who we have to go. There's a lot of work to be done.
Yes.
A lot of work to be done. And what we have to do, we have to try to get to the children. There was a little girl there. Let me tell you, a lot of hope is here now.
Yes, man.
But we have to get to the children.
And my lad, I don't want to stay on it long because I hear say I did too too long. So here what I do now. I take on myself. But oh my God. You know, good man.
I have hope for this. No man, there's hope. There is hope.
There's hope. And it's not up a hope yard we are talking about.
No man. No.
And you want me to tell you something? Now whisper to them make you hear now all of our people are afraid.
Yes,
I have that sense too.
We know.
Hey, I know guitar afraid me talk about, you know.
I feel that people are going to work trying to look normal, but not as things are not normal.
You're better than that. A man I try to spin because if he did not spin it and take it from the direction that it is now, within 2 weeks' time, you know, when I boom our pregnant, it take the week, go down until it blows.
Yes.
All right, remember, so when me come in, and when me come, I come with foolishness.
All right.
I come with concrete thing. When you hear me come, when it's cement down and thing.
Yes.
And I'm going to blow up and me telling you something, it now got pretty.
All right.
We can only hope. All right, sir. Thank you. Good morning and welcome.
Yeah, my lady. What Raspal is what Raspal was saying that the fine should be lower that people continue to break the law with impunity because the fine is so small.
It seemed to be alluding to that, but we're saying no because the whole thing is about deterring.
Of course, because it wouldn't make sense if you keep it lower the fine. There would be no deterrent right there. I think what he should be saying is that people must, in order not to pay the fine, we must try and abide by the law.
Yes, that's what we are.
That's what we were saying. Although we acknowledge that a lot of things are in the system that need to be fixed. Because even some of the tickets that the people get, especially the taxi, if the transport system and the infrastructure was better, you would have be getting those tickets.
Right. But I remember I mentioned some of those things the last time we spoke about it when I was saying that the government, instead of this big stick, instead of and lack of education and all those things, you know. So I agree with that. But I don't agree that the fine should be lower because of people going to pay people minimum wage and all that type of thing. It will defeat itself when we come up with arguments like those, you know. Those arguments are defeated.
Yeah, but you know, what Raspal, there is an existing principle of law that speaks to maintaining some proportionality or parity between what people can pay, how you punish them, and also the purpose of the punishment. There are some breaches that people commit that are administrative in nature, and because they put the government to greater risk and expense in managing certain parts of public life, there is a fine that is meant to like compensate the government apparatus for the additional work. And those kinds of fines have to be based on the level of extra work that is caused by the breach, and it must be within reason so citizens can pay it. That's not meant to be as much of a deterrent, although persons should do things on time. But it also compensates for additional work. The traffic ticket situation goes to safety on the roads, and that must be a deterrent. So it must be high. Somebody online here just made a comment that I want to clarify. The penalty for not paying a traffic ticket is one, you have to go to court if you miss paying it, because you don't have to pay it. You can defend against the charge.
Which I have done.
And when you go, if you win, then no fine paid. If you lose, then you're required to pay the fine. If when you are before the court and you can't pay the fine, they keep you until the fine is paid. Usually nobody goes to prison for not paying a traffic ticket, because it's usually such that with with organizing things, there's someone here who was saying that persons shouldn't go to ticket shouldn't be at risk of imprisonment for not paying a fine. But you are always at risk of imprisonment if you disobey an order of the court. If you can't explain why, so that risk is there. It's not enough that you lose your license. When an order of the court is made and you disobey it, there are usually other consequences, because that now is not just about you not affording the fine. It is about maintaining the level of respect and force that court orders should carry in the nation. That is about the rule of law.
But one of the things, we had to do something about this traffic thing, because the type of driving that was taking place on the road and all that type of thing. It's not that people were driving carefully and behaving in a manner that is well, boy. The government come with a draconian measure now to arrest it, to oppress people. The citizens were behaving in a manner that the government had to do something. To save life on the road, because too many people are being killed.
Well, we need to give it a little time and just see whether these, tougher penalties will have the impact of moderating the excessive behavior on the road.
Because, I am telling you, I'm afraid to go on the road, I'm afraid to drive on the road the way people.
Well, I tell you that this morning I saw buses almost lining up at the bus stop, because they were being careful not to just drop off anywhere.
Listen, the chaka that took place in the 70s coming up to the 80s with the public transportation system. It's one of the things that caused the society to, in my opinion, to reach the level that it reached, That was a contributing factor, the shut up business and the bus and all the type of thing, and the school girl and the behaving in a certain way and the bus and all the type of thing. That was a thing that to me caused some moral decay in the society, the safe transportation system,
Interesting hypothesis. It probably needs to be explored, but the breakdown you are saying in terms of the transportation system in the 70s and the early 80s was a part of what helped in terms of the overall breakdown in terms of land.
Yeah, man, that wasn't the only one, but that was one of the contributing factors, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Well,
that caused the breakdown in the type of society that we really have now.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to find a way to arrest this decline. A gentleman by the name of Chester Burgess wrote an article. I wish Steve Gleaner would reproduce an article like that. When he said that Jamaica on the verge of anarchy, that's about in 1993 or 92. I wonder if he was alive now, what would he say at that time,
Yeah, well, it's interesting thoughts as per usual, enlightened. But I remember, patty pan, lick shot, all of those expressions on the bus. My brother, $250,000. Yeah.
The lining up and things. I have some experience. But you see, what before I leave, our government, are not, to me, they're not interested in getting law and order. Because every time when I use it, every time, I have to repeat it all the while. When I go down to the bus terminus or the parade and all the place, and when I see all the people them fighting to get in that bus, and that thing could be started so easy, You remember when you go carry. I saw you have to walk to the turnstile and all them things to go to the theater.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why couldn't they just put up something like that? You have to join the line in order. The bus come and just park right there, and people just form a line and go. We can't do that for about a generation, and little when the people them get civilized, they can move that,
Yeah. Good idea.
Why somebody can't think about them things if we get to our people, especially the young sons? Because when I see youth, them come from school, them push where they had those them and try to go in the bus and get seat too.
Yeah. All right, my brother, we have to take the 9:30 break. It's 9:31, but thank you for calling back.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
It's better, but nothing beats.
Business owners, what do you want our listeners to know about your business? Check out the Business Spotlight every Thursday at 11:15 a.m. inside Lifted with Darren Chosen Smith, catering to all your advertising needs. Call our sales and marketing department now at 876-276-5072 or 876-887-0800 or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road off Hadley Park Road. That's the Business Spotlight right here on Best 100 FM.
Half a tree, one and drive. Bossy. How you do I take taxi start?
Chano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and me check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? You waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me send you.
You big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Try and call him, guys, trust me.
What a relief.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-time taxi service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
From anywhere at all, you can call us on 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
Veteran Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Haggard Park Road. Veteran Printers, your best choice in printing.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-3825-8 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
Having trouble getting parts for your Mazda? Maljam Auto Parts is your solution. Find Maljam at the new and convenient location off Upper Park Road at 9 Kingswood Avenue. Maljam Auto Parts, with over 25 years experience, providing all Mazda parts, new and used. Call 923-4389 and 461-1786. Maljam Auto Parts, serving your Mazda needs.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on the Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Good morning and welcome back to the caller on the line. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning again.
Hey, good morning, Restball.
Yeah, the fella Portmore, yeah, when I said the taxi,
the fine,
the taxman, yeah, the taxman.
We're not hearing you.
No, you're not hearing me?
It's come back now. I think you were getting a call.
I was saying that most of the tickets that the taxi man then picked up is that they don't have nowhere to let out the passenger then, and they don't have nowhere. You understand? Most of the time, I saw them pick up them tickets, you know.
Right.
And I saw them ticket gets add up and all that stuff like that.
We understand that in the response, so we agree with
So
you. We agree with you.
You need to fix where the taxman and can let out passenger.
We agree there 100%.
Because right now, JUTC mash up, you know. You know that.
We agree with you on that
100%,
point.
yes.
But you had started off talking about the size of the fine and the likelihood of many persons not being able to pay it because it's more than minimum wage. And we were shifting your focus from looking at the fine, the amount of the fine, and just saying that the idea is that persons won't have to pay that fine because they will follow the law. Then you began to talk about tickets being given for breaches which are unavoidable because there's no infrastructure to support what the duty that the law is imposing on the citizen. That's a common complaint in many areas of our society, and we need to do better than that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things in this, the local and the road infrastructure and all them things there. You see, it's because the taxman don't know them rights. They don't know so they can start through the government, you know, when them car drop down the road and all them things there.
Only if,
know that, you know.
No, well, our law in Jamaica is not like in the US where you can sue the municipality for failure to carry out good maintenance. We can sue the government for negligence in those areas if they are doing something and they do it badly or they do it in a way that causes harm. If it's just wear and tear on the road, remember it's near US citizens who pay the bill when the government gets sued. So no, taximen can't sue because there's a pothole. Taximen can sue if there's a manhole and somebody leave the cover off or don't cover it up.
Yeah, but I see enough things like that on the road.
Yes, and if people suffer harm from it, they can sue. Your voice is gone again.
Me I sue them, you know. And if I mean like because when they work it out, you know, and you look what go on in this country, you know. You don't see, you know, get a good proper road. You know, your tax, you pay your tax. And whole heap of thing now go on. So, you know, is that thing that's why I'm saying that them should get them things together, like get the place with the taxi them park and all that. And when them get all of them things together now, them can raise up this big ticket with them make a lot of money off and them now spend on the road, now spend it on the road, you don't know where to spend. You see the government collect how much $1 million them said, and you don't see where it's spend, you know, see where to go. You know, I don't know, you know, but you know, this country, there's nothing around good in this country, you know. That's why sometimes I don't really call and talk, because sometimes it just look like a talk shop, you know.
Well,
you know what I mean?
This is a talk show.
No,
when you call
like
that
a talk shop, like, you know, see nothing you see them at do, where you can't say, boy, yes, it's a work. Hospital now run right.
Well, listen, as long as the activism is taking place in the right quarters, because it will not change, it won't change without human activity to promote and bring about change. But thank you, my brother. We have another call and then we're going to wrap up the program. So keep the faith.
Keep the faith. Keep the faith.
Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection. Good morning. All right. Well, that call didn't.
No, but you raised the thing in terms of the bungalow.
Hello, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Sorry, I didn't hear you right away. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, please. Good morning.
Good morning.
I would like to send some greetings, please.
This is not a greetings program, mind you, but who you want to greet?
I would like to send some greetings to my son, John Gale, and to my 3 grandchildren.
All right. So I hope they're listening and they heard the greetings from their grandmother and their mother.
So what is concerning you today, Grandma? What's on your mind as a elderly person?
Well, thank you. Thank you for the good couple greetings.
All right. Okay. Have a good day. Good morning and welcome.
Yeah, just as we come in, I have another call on that.
No, but I did want to complete the analysis. As our brother called from St. Elizabeth and was querying how it is that the police arrested and charged 4 men.
Mm-hmm.
Not charged 4 men. They arrested 4 men and they've charged 1. And he is saying that the story as known on the street implicates all 4 men in the abuse of this woman who complained of being raped consequent to a police stop on the road. I don't know the details of the allegation, and they're not important for what we're looking at. It raises the question of what really goes on behind the scenes, either how persons come to be arrested, and then how you end up negotiating who to charge. I was making the point that because the offense arose out of a complaint by a woman that she was sexually abused, then her evidence would be the driving factor. And if her evidence didn't support charging the other 3, though they were arrested, then you could imagine that is what has happened. But there was a speculative comment by the caller that perhaps some deal was struck that has one person taking the rap for all 4 when all 4 were complicit in the charge. And it brought to mind what has transpired now with the headline that says bungled. This morning, the DPP explaining that the man who got a very light sentence under the new, much talked about Firearms Act, where minimum of 15 years was to be the penalty imposed on anyone found with an unlicensed firearm, an illegal firearm. Illegal firearm can occur in 2 ways. It's licensed, but the license has lapsed, or it's not licensed at all, and the government had no knowledge that such a firearm was operating in the system. It appears that the man who pleaded guilty had in his possession an illegal firearm and ammunition, yet he was given the treatment reserved for persons found with a legal firearm, but they themselves had no permit to be in possession of it. How that came about, and it seems innocent enough, the names that you see there, 28-year-old Dennis Mundell, doesn't seem to be, well, you never know, because the connection might be a sinister connection with somebody who had the ability to negotiate for that path to be taken. So those are the issues that were coming up out of that call. And really what it goes to is citizens are rightly concerned that you can't really trust what you see happening. If it's something that happened corruptly, well, one could say the DPP is not a part of it, because she has come out and very forthrightly said, this happened because the wrong section of law was used, and we are now going to review all of the charges, and if the trial is underway, we're going to stop it and start over, because we want to make sure that this message that we want to send, or that the act is positioned to send, that we actually do it. So they're going to review the They're going to review the cases that are underway, persons who have been charged, and make sure that the justice we expect is the justice that we get. It begs another question for this young man, Mundell, who by error was charged under the wrong section. Is the government going to appeal and say that the judge, because ignorance of the law is no defense for the judge either, because the judge who gets a case charged under the wrong section
should check out.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course, the judge isn't just
There's
sitting
an
there.
education for me, you know. 'cause,
The judge not just sitting there to take whatever the prosecutor gives. And the man plead guilty. You look at all the information. First thing is, even though he pleads guilty, you're not supposed to just take a guilty plea. You're supposed to look to see that the plea is appropriate to the charge. What was the evidence? What evidence of a license, permit, or whatever would have been on the files to show that he is being charged under the right section? So we'll see what happens with it. Thank you. Those online, those on air, howsoever you have participated in this morning's program, we thank you for the ideas, the commentary. Take heart. Although what we do here is speak and express ideas and opinions, please know that this is where all things begin, in the brain, in the head, in the spiritual, invisible realm, where you acquire knowledge, you interrogate knowledge, you set a course so you can plan how you're going to deal with various things. This morning, what has come out of the discussion very powerfully is that persons who are setting about doing business, acquire the knowledge, find out how best to address various things. And also, too, if you are suffering under the oppression of something that is being done to you by a neighbor, by the government, by whatever, make an inquiry as to how you can find some relief so you don't go and try to help yourself in a way that bounce back on you negatively. And of course, the third thing that I am emphasizing, and we're going to get back to it in the days to come, if you know that you have information that you have given to an attorney and you're concerned about, the protections afforded your secrets, have a conversation with your attorney at law and be comfortable about things. Don't feel that you need to go burn down the lawyer office or shoot the lawyer or whatever other self-help remedies you want to take to protect your secrets, because some people feel that their secrets are worth somebody dying for it. Mr. Bert Samuels, attorney at law, has written something in the paper. It's the letter of the day. And one of the things he said is that attorneys, he himself could rightly feel some trepidation about safety, because if client tell you something and believe that you're going to go and tell, especially if you say, I cannot take your business, I don't feel that your business is safe for both of us or either of us, then they're going to be thinking that your next step is to go and report it, and you could put yourself in harm and danger. A very realistic concern in Jamaica of today. So those are some of the things that I want to leave you with so that you can apply your own thought process to it and be a part of the change that we all desire in our nation.
Yeah, and as we close, I invite people to continue to commit your works to the Lord, and it can really help you to establish your thoughts in a real way. And of course, I see the comments online. we know that's why you're dead with laugh, my sister, but it's all right.
Good morning to you, Big Truck. And to Mr. Galloway, thank you both. And Earl Brown, thank you for, just keeping us on point. All right, have a good day, everyone. Over and out.